Is Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. And we will begin the session tonight with public comment on non-agenda items. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, and we don't take them online at this time, we will go to our first presenter, and that is Albany County Public Library. And Jamie Steen? No.
Rachel Crocker.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm down one line.
All right.
Good evening, Rachel.
Good evening.
Go ahead.
Good evening, commissioners and council members. Always delightful to come every year and get to briefly present with you. There's lots of new faces this time, so I'm going to give you a quick rundown of just sort of the highlights of especially when you think about the Albany County Public Library, but specifically what we do for the city of Laramie and those users. So out of our Laramie branch, in 2024, we had 88,000 visits. We moved over 100,000 items out of our library, and we hosted about 290 programs that were attended by about 7,500 people. And that hits all ages. That's our babies to our senior citizens, touching on everyone. So this time around, we are requesting funds in two buckets. So one is our annual request to support our internet cost for the Laramie branch and our outreach services. So outreach services includes things like our bookmobile being out at parks during the summer. It also includes services like our team who takes our library van out to different residential homes, delivering materials to people who couldn't make it otherwise in the library. And in the winter, because it's the same team that does bookmobile, when they're not doing bookmobile, they actually spend a lot of time at those same sites doing a lot of tech help. So they will just set up, and that might be going to someone's room and setting up their printer for them. It might be getting their computer. Again, people who don't have that access, maybe that mobility to come to the library. But they're a really important part of our community. As I looked at the city's goals, I also sort of see that as both that internet and that outreach piece as part of the city's broader broadband goal. When you talk about broadband and how we hit last mile, libraries are often that last mile spot, right? We are the place where people who can't get that internet to their house, often because of just cost barriers, whether it's equipment or internet, we become the place that those folks come to access those needs. So that's kind of the first chunk, that 7,500 of just some of those annual needs. The second part is a one-time request to help us sort of polish off some of the changes that we've done and update some of the furniture and resources that we have. So we do not know how old our soft seating and our carrels are. What I do know is that in 2001, when I was a student at Co, those were the materials that were at Co that we then later inherited. So they're at least that old, probably much older, and they could just use an adjustment. In 2001, we did not build steady carrels to hold computers. So we make them fit, but they're not great. So we would love the opportunity to just provide for our community a better place to be. You will hear libraries talk about being the community's living room, getting to be a place where people come, and we just like to spruce things up a little bit so that is a comfortable place. We're often people's warm place in the winter and their cool place in the summer. There's not a lot of indoor opportunities for kids, so it's that place to work out, to come and be in our community. The other pieces of this is sort of this broader $26,000 ask is for those carrels. It would also help us finish up some furniture. So with construction, if you haven't come by, it's great. We have exciting things happening, but we've been able to carve out a more designated space for teens, and we're really excited to be able to continue to define that spot so that we actually keep adults, we keep our adult supervision there, but we keep other adults. We reserve that space for the teens to have a space after school that gets to be theirs. And so a little bit of money to make that space kind of feel and look like theirs is a part of that ask as well. That's what I have. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions?
Yes.
Yes, Commissioner Jones.
On the 88,000 visits, oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
On the 88,000 visits, is that numbers of books checked out, or is that actual?
88,000 is the number of, is our door count of people coming in and out over the course of that year.
Thank you.
Further questions? Great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll go on to our next, Developmental Preschool and Daycare Center, Jamie Stein. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you, City Council members, County Commissioners. My name is Jamie Stein. I'm the Executive Director for Developmental Preschool and Daycare Center. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight to talk to you about our programs. Just a quick overview of who we are and what we do in case you're new and haven't heard my spiel before. We provide free developmental screenings for all children throughout the county, birth to 5 years old. That includes hearing and vision screenings in addition to looking at every area of development like cognitive, physical development. We do comprehensive evaluations for kids that in those screenings show that there might be a concern. So those comprehensive evaluations.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize it wasn't on. Comprehensive evaluations look at everything very in depth and determine if there is a developmental delay or disability for that child. If there is a delay, then we provide special education and therapeutic services for those kids, which includes speech pathology, occupational therapy, physical therapy, counseling, mental health services, special education, family service coordination for those kids that are under the age of 3. All of that is free of charge to the families as we're under contract with the state of Wyoming to provide those services. We are federally regulated by the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act of 1994. That includes Part C, which is birth to 3. Part B is for children 3 to 21, but we only focus on that 3 to 5, and then when they turn 5, we transition them to the school district. Funding is provided by federal and state programs. We receive United Way, funding from City of Laramie, Albany County, and other public and private funding as well. In the 2024 to 2025 fiscal year, we're serving 219 children, 190, or sorry, that number was, it should have been 93 birth to 3 and 126 3 to 5. Additionally, we are required to provide regular education and special education services, but we're only funded for the special education side through our contract with the state. In 2024, we did receive a $2,000 per child increase in our funding, which was long overdue. We had gone for 12 years without any per child increase from the state. And we're still about $1,000 per child behind to be funded at school district level funding, which state statute actually says we're supposed to be funded at. So we're still working on getting the rest of that funding that we need. While we've received an increase, we're still lower than where we need to be. Changes to our child count date will also help. Before, we used a December 1st child count date, but we continued to identify kids after that date that we had to serve without receiving any funding. So this year we changed it. It's going to go to a May 1st count, which will actually incorporate all of those kids that we've identified and that we've been serving through this entire school year. This year, according to statute that was, Senate File 19 that was passed last year in legislation, was supposed to get our funding up to $12,000, $300 per child, but that did not go into effect, and the supplemental budget that did not get approved also meant that we didn't get additional funding that we were expecting. Even with that, we're still looking at a fairly significant increase in our funding this year, which is going a long ways to help us to increase our salaries for our staff, because that's our #1 expense for providing these services to children. Our match is going to be about a 40% increase from what we've had in the past, and that's where our request for city and county funds is really beneficial, because that helps us to meet that match. This year we have to provide $77,000, a little over $77,000 in local matches. It's a 3% match, so we really get a big bang for our buck for the money that we get from the city and the county. And usually our typical matching sources are United Way. We anticipate about $25,000 from them. If we get the $14,000 from city and county that we're hoping, a local fundraiser, we're projecting to raise about $15,000, and then we have other grants and other sources that we'll be going after to get that extra $25,000. That's my cue that I'm out of time.
Yes. Thank you, Jamie.
Yes, thank you.
We appreciate it. Are there any questions? Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next person, Laramie Connection Center, Tim Snowbarger. Good evening, Tim.
Good evening, Mayor. Good to see you tonight, City Council members, Commissioners. Thank you so much for the time. Coming to you again here in our 7th year of operation and our 3rd year of requesting funds through the community partner funding, and we are excited to be here again this evening. I want to thank you for your time. For those that are new, we'll just do a quick overview of Laramie Connections. Our overall mission statement is, let's see, am I on here? Well, I got the laser. There we go. It is our intent to facilitate the spirit of volunteering, expose existing needs, champion the cause of others, and fill in the gaps when and where needed in order to make Laramie a better place to live, serve, and thrive. Now, you won't hear any specific service mentioned in that mission statement because it really is our intent to do these specific 3 things: to be in a position to where we can help expose needs, champion the cause of other organizations that are meeting those needs, but then help identify where gaps might exist, and that's where Connections kind of makes its space known. Although over the years we've become primarily known for some food insecurity on the weekends and also the transportation, both of those primary services do exist because of the current gaps, which aren't a negative, it's just a reality. And within that, that's where we find our identity. With that, I would go ahead and mention to you our, I don't know which button I'm supposed to hit.
Click to the right.
To the right, okay. Maybe not. All right, we're good. Just a quick overview of our current GAP services. We typically have GAP services that have kind of an ebb and a flow or a shelf life. Currently right now, our 4 primary GAP services are a free Sunday community meal that we offer on the weekends because some of our other insecurities are closed. Soup Kitchen, Interfaith, Epson, Phelan Valley, those partners that we have closed on the weekends. Our non-emergent medical and lifestyle transportation service is probably the one that we're known for the most. It is one that is growing the fastest. This last year, we were also able to add low-income vehicle repairs and a loaner vehicle program due to some of the funds that were gifted from this particular program as well. Our Sunday evening faith gathering and our community volunteer resourcing continue to be ways that we kind of smooth through that GAP services. We really do believe in collaboration. We think that's an important piece to add here tonight. Within that, we find ourselves partnering with some amazing agencies in town. Many of those are known by each other, and I'll just have you do it. And just a short list of those here, and you can probably recognize where there might be certain gaps that might expose through the work of these great agencies. And once again, it's our privilege to try and develop relational equity, come alongside, definitely not overdevelop or step on toes or double dip into services or funds to meet some of the needs within these particular gatherings and collaboration. I go back again real quick to our intent, those 3 things: the exposed needs, champion cause, and fill in the gaps. And the reason I say that is because gaps have a shelf life. At one point, we also offered meal deliveries for the Soup Kitchen. That was during COVID. And then at that time, when COVID kind of relaxed, it was back to the Soup Kitchen's priority to have people come back in for the meals. So we dropped that service, but then it led into the ability to give people rides through the transportation service to those meals. That's kind of the nature of how a gap kind of has an existence and then a sunset and back and forth. Tonight, I just want to come to you, as we did last year, primarily on our transportation services. This particular GAP service is not one that is without great services across the community, whether it's through the city, through the university, through other agencies that offer, but some of those and most of those actually have different hoops or requirements that then create the gaps. So tonight I want to just touch base with you on our need as far as transportation goes. It's interesting how much that particular need flies under the radar. For most of us, transportation transportation has not really ever been a huge factor in our lives, and if it has, you recognize the great need in order to find sufficiency and to live efficiently within a community. Laramie's not the biggest town in the world. We call it a 10-minute town because that's about how long it takes our drivers to get from one side to the other. But if you're not able to make that 10-minute transit on a regular basis, life is definitely affected. So within that, I just want to share a little bit of some of our facts from this last year. In 2024, we were just shy of 3,600 rides provided here in Laramie, Albany County. And within that, those were provided for residents, for transients, for non-emergent medical and lifestyle things. And what we mean by that would be doctor's appointments all the way to Walmart stops, even being the capacity to get somebody to work or school every day fits in those numbers. But the distance is the one that's really kind of rearing its head more and more. 300 plus of those 3,500 rides were out of town. We don't have a strong out-of-town opportunity for people to get to needed appointments, especially with medical appointments or Social Security, and we will go up to 90 miles out of town for that. And you can understand the expenses that would be included in that, whether it's fuel, upkeep of the vehicles, our shop space that last year's funds helped us continue to acquire. And within that, we also saw an up increase for appointments for people getting in touch with family, especially down into Colorado and some of our outlying areas here in Albany County and the like. We come to you tonight because that service continues to grow, and unfortunately, we have had this last year to begin asking for a donation for the out-of-town rides. It breaks my heart to do it, but to be sustainable and to be accountable, not everybody can do it. We've had to deny some rides as a result. Others, we've just decided it's worth making it happen, and so that's part of our reality. You know, fuel costs increasing, insurance, an older fleet of vehicles, these types of things. These are all things that we have, but the growth continues. We're seeing upwards of 7 to 10 out-of-town rides per week. Some of those as many as 3 or 4 a day, if you can believe that. So we're asking for assistance again to help us continue to raise funds to help us acquire additional vehicles. We're in desperate need of another high-capacity vehicle and a 4-wheel drive vehicle. We're also desperately in need for 2 additional paid drivers. And with that comes some staffing costs as well as office expenses, communication tools, and everything else also increases as well. Some of those limitations that we kind of talked about briefly have to do with some people just not knowing where support is. So one of our goals is to be sure that people do know about other services that they might qualify for just before they might use us. In the same token, we're looking for ways to build our driver pool, as mentioned, and some of those drivers are volunteers as well who need a ride to get to the vehicle to give someone a ride. So we're very proud of the services that we're able to offer. Our request remains the same as last year. Those funds were greatly used to a great success. The request, $25,000 from the city and $35,000 from county, and the percentages that were given were a great blessing. I want to thank you for it. We believe we're making a difference. We believe there's impact across the board, and I might have a little bit of time for questions. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Tim. Questions?
Good evening. I have,
Thad Hoff?
yeah, I have a question. What is your demographic? I mean, do you see anything, nothing stands out?
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, you would think it's primarily elderly and medical conditions, but, you know, for example, we've got three individuals that we're their daily ride to work, and they're all under the age of 30.
Okay. And then I guess a second part of that is, what is the determining factor for if you can provide a ride or not?
Our capacity, mainly. You know, we don't have any discrimination of any kind. Right now, we only run Monday through Thursdays, and then we do run on Sundays for transportation to that Sunday meal that we provide. But really, it's just our capacity, and so it's a little bit of a first come, first serve as far as the request goes. But with half of our drivers being volunteers, we also have to kind of balance it in that regard as well. No, thank you for that question.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim. Vice Mayor, you have a question.
Thank you, Tim. You had noted 3,500 rides, and I'm sorry if I missed this, but do you have a breakdown of the number of individuals who utilized it? Are there,
yes. Yeah, we have that data as well. And most recent, we ran that report in January, coming off of last year. The out-of-town rides have a pretty unique population. That's about 40 individuals on any given basis, and then the greater number is over 300, yeah.
Great, thank you.
You bet, thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
All right. Thank you
We
very much.
appreciate it. Our next agency, Albany Advisory Council on Trafficking, Mr. Justin Scott. Welcome, Justin.
Hello. Seems like it was just yesterday I was up here.
Just about.
Thank you. Thank you, council, commissioners. I appreciate your guys' time. I will try to be brief because I was just up here recently, and I was just in front of the commissioners not too long ago. Commissioner, I think you are the only one I haven't spoken in front of recently in front of this group. So I did provide some resources. There's a sheet that looks like this that you guys should have. I provided that, the one just for you guys to have for the end of the night, to remember who we are and what we do. But I really want to focus on our circle that you guys have seen before, and really kind of narrow in on what we do and kind of where our request comes in from there. But before I begin, again, my name is Justin Scott. I'm the Executive Director for the task force that combats human trafficking in our community. We have a task force of about 25 to 30 volunteers, and they provide a variety of tasks to combat human trafficking within our community, and it's kind of expanded beyond that into our state and regionally, as I discussed prior to meeting with you guys. But I'm having a hard time because I don't want to repeat myself too much, but this is my first time asking for money, and I really hope it's my last time. And I don't want to say that rudely, but there's a lot of resources here in our community, and it's great that we have those resources here, but that causes a lot of strain on you guys. And our task force and the combating of human trafficking as a state is limited. There's really 2 organizations in our state that are combating this, and that means that we are tapping into a bigger pool. And so this is hopefully my last time asking. And so that's why my request is small, is just to stabilize us until we get around to asking some of those, our bigger pools, which we're in the process of doing now. So I'm really going to focus on what we're spending our money on this year and not really about what we actually do. So with that, regarding that wheel that you guys have, as I've discussed before, that's kind of our base of where we are and how we attack human trafficking. We divided our task force into 5 teams through that prevention, identification, rescue, restoration, and reform. We have 5 teams that look at it in a different way and attack it through a different way, such as our prevention team. They're doing such a wonderful job right now of getting to our youth in our community to train, to look at what human trafficking looks like, to address it from a youth standpoint, to educate them on behaviors, what to look for, and how to look at it from an age-appropriate way. Our identification team is out there again looking at training to our our community, and also looking at outreach opportunities to those in need. Our response team or our rescue team is there to help our survivors of human trafficking that are in our community or that pass through our community. Our restoration team is going to look at long-term solutions for survivors of human trafficking. And then lastly, our reform team is out there supporting legislation and other policies to protect our survivors. And that's where our request is going to go. We have such a small overhead that we have a cell phone for our advocates. We have insurance to protect us and our survivors. And we have a small salary for me that is on a separate line item. So I'll close with that, with just that.
Thank you very much, Justin.
Sorry
We
for
appreciate
dragging
you're good, you're good. Are there any questions for Justin? All right, thank you very much. Next, we have ARC Regional Services and Mr. Bob Sell. Welcome, Bob.
Thank you all so very much for this opportunity. Again, the vast majority of my job is challenging and stressful and frustrating and emotional. This is not one of those times. So I love being here talking to all of you. I am Bob Sell, the CEO at ARC Regional Services. At ARC, we provide supports and services for adults with developmental disabilities. We do provide services for some children through our contracts with the Albany County School District. We provide 3 primary services. Our residential program, essentially where people live. We do this in 2 ways. We have comprehensive group home environments. They're shared living environments that are staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is for folks who have a very high level of need and cannot spend much time or any time without staff presence. We also offer supported living, which is for folks who are more independent. So this is services provided when people need it. Usually a few hours in the morning, a few hours in the evening, some weekend hours, but it's really structured when the person has the need, and we will structure staffing during those times. We do this, ARC owns and operates 9 group homes in our community and 25 apartments that we support people in. When we're out of space, then people can rent from the community and we'll still support them in whatever location they live, whether they rent apartment, live with family, we'll support them in those environments as well. Second service is our day services, our day supports. This is educational stuff. This is where people are learning independent living skills. This can be basically skills people need to be part of a community. This can be health and safety, communication, social skills, community living skills, stress, behavior management, time management, money management, anything that you need to live a life is what we're teaching in our day program. We do this in basically 4 areas. We have the Cooper Center for Creative Arts, where we teach fine and performing arts, where people are learning those day skills through. We also have a comprehensive curriculum-driven general education program at our Center for Professional Development, where it's what you would expect: math, science, reading, language arts, literature, things of that nature. We also have work skills, social skills, and living skills, relational skills, all being taught at our ARC Equestrian Center through ARC Equestrian Services as well. Our newest program is a job readiness program. This is vocational education. It is very specifically designed to teach our clients the skills they need to get jobs in our community. After working with our community and employers, they told us what they would hire, so we've actually launched a program to try to teach people those actual skills so that folks can go get those jobs. And that leads to the third program, which is actual community employment, actually helping people get a job, keep a job, and maintaining that relationship with our community employer. We do this with about 170 staff. 140 of those individuals are direct support professionals. These are the folks that I say do our mission-driven work. Direct support professionals are going to do a variety of things. They're going to do direct care, health, hygiene, daily living, staying safe. They assist people with their medications and medication management, as well as accessing medical services. ARC is not a medical provider, but we do help our folks access medical providers and help them manage all the things that come out of those appointments, from medical to counseling counseling appointments, things of that nature. Our DSPs assist people with their money management. They're making their financial obligations, saving receipts, and how to purchase the things that they need. The biggest thing is our DSPs deal with a lot of challenging behavior. Unfortunately, a lot of our folks do have some aggressive behavior, some verbal aggression and physical aggression, as well as a high population of folks who have trauma histories and mental health issues. And our direct support professionals are dealing with all of those things as they're trying to help them learn all of these skills and live part of a community. Probably the hardest things that I ask my DSPs to do is help people manage relationships. Relationships are the hardest thing we all have to deal with. And so whether it be friends, family, or coworkers, or romantic relationships, our direct support professionals help people manage those relationships. Our jobs are someone else's life. It's the best way I found to describe what we do. It's what we do. Whatever life is what we're helping people do. We do this by providing about 4,600 hours of direct care every week, or 240,000 hours of direct care every year. Primary funding source is Medicaid through the Medicaid Home and Community-Based Waiver Program, which is, at any given time over my 20 years of doing this, is underfunded by anywhere from 10 to 20%. Just always is. So what is the biggest challenges that we face? Maintaining adequate staffing levels when our reimbursement rate is too low. People's cost of supporting them is here, the reimbursement rate is here. How do we maintain staffing for those folks? Staff turnover. In addition to funding, which keeps us at a low rate of pay for people, we also have a transient workforce coming and going from our community, and the challenging components of this job that I've already explained to you, how hard it is to do this job. Meeting people's needs when they need them. We can't decrease the amount of services we provide people just because we don't have funding. I can't tell a person, you know, we're 10% underfunded, provide 10% less of a shower. You provide 10% less of their medication needs. We can't do it.
Okay.
We provide the services that people need when they're in our services. And lastly, it is support when people have a crisis in their life. About a month ago, we had an individual who was relatively independent, lived on her own, had lived on her own for a very long time. She had a stroke. She went to the hospital. When she got out of the hospital, she could not live alone. So we moved her into a group home environment. We are not reimbursed at that level, and we are about halfway through the ECC process to get her the funding that will adequately support what we do.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah,
I appreciate your
No problem.
presentation.
Any questions for me?
And questions, Vice Mayor Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Sell, and I apologize, this might be getting into the weeds a bit, but
Please go.
you've talked about Medicaid reimbursement, and it's the home and community waiver?
Home and community-based waiver
Okay,
program.
thank you. Is the state able to reimburse at a higher level for that through, are they reimbursing at a level that they could be? They are evaluating in the interim, increasing reimbursement for a number of other kind of areas?
We are constantly asking for reimbursement increases. The state of Wyoming legislatively required to do a cost study for our program every 2 to 4 years. And so, but they're not legislatively required to fund that cost study. They just completed the last one in September, and it demonstrated that they're about $25 million under what they need to have to pay for costs, and that's across the state of Wyoming. ARC is the second largest provider in the state of Wyoming, so we're sort of disproportionately impacted by those being underfunded. The study 4 years earlier demonstrated a smaller decrease, but that is. So the state legislator has to fund the programs at certain levels. They do make that decision. Sorry, I don't want to go on any longer. It was a long question, but we did have money that was added to our reimbursement rates, but unfortunately the state of Wyoming funded it through ARPA funds. Those ARPA funds are running out at the end of this year. We had full support from our entire legislator to backfill that for 1 year until next year's budget, and there was not a single person that disagreed that we needed it. It was in there, and as you all know, then they didn't pass a supplemental budget, so we lost our money. So we're facing, ARC will be facing about a $400,000 decrease in what we reimbursed. We're being reimbursed for last year, so we have to make that up somewhere.
Thank you. Seeing no further questions, thank you very much.
Thank you
I
so much.
appreciate it. Our next presenter is Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and Hannah Esslinger.
Nailed it.
Wow. Welcome, Hannah.
Thank you. Good evening, council members and commissioners. It's always nice to see you. I appreciate your time this evening and letting us share a little bit about Big Brothers Big Sisters and what we do here in Albany County. Our mission is to create and support mentoring relationships that ignite the power and promise of youth. Research tells us that the #1 predictor of whether a child develops the resilience they need to overcome any challenges they face is whether or not they have a caring adult in their life. About 10 million kids across this country do not identify having that person in their life. So our goal is to try to shrink that gap as much as we possibly can. In service of that goal, here in Albany County, we provide a variety of different programming opportunities. We have our one-to-one mentoring, which is where we match adult volunteers in the community with young people. We match based on interests, personalities, hobbies, things they have in common, so they have a really solid foundation to grow a relationship on. Excuse me. We also have after-school programming here in Albany County that we operate in partnership with the Department of Education. And we work in Albany County with the County Attorney's Office to provide juvenile justice programming as well. So they all have a little bit of a different approach, but that focus of providing that one-to-one supportive adult mentoring relationship stays the same across the programs. Throughout those programs over the last year, 2024, we served just under 500 or just over 550 kids here in Albany County, which is about a 25% increase over 2023. So we've definitely seen the need continue to grow both in numbers and in terms of the needs of the individuals that we're working with as far as the level of care and the level of intervention or prevention that they are needing. About, I think it's 35% of our kids that we work with in Albany County have an ACEs or Adverse Childhood Experiences score of 2 or higher. That is well above the state average of 23%. So we're seeing an increase both in number of families that are coming to us for support and the levels of support that they are needing to access, whether that's through us or looking for other additional resources through our case managers in working with all of our amazing community partners. So that's just a little bit about what we do. Our request has decreased from the last year. We know, times are challenging, and we wanted to be respectful and aware of, the limitations of the funding available with the current climate and all of those things. But we are asking for $28,550 from the city and $10,000 from the county, and that funding will go to support programming across the board in Albany County. And I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Hannah. Questions? Seeing none, thank you very much, Hannah. We appreciate your presentation. Next, Cathedral Home for Children, Laramie Youth Crisis Center, and are all three coming up, or?
Rachel and Caroline.
Okay, Rachel LeBeau and Caroline Ellick. Ellick? Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us. We are here representing Cathedral Home and our community-based programs. So, I sent Nancy the presentation from last year, so that's unfortunate. No, that's fine. Thank you. So you'll just have to imagine. But luckily, not a lot has changed. So there's that. Many of you are familiar with Cathedral Home, but our programs in the community are those that people are less familiar with. So those programs are the Laramie Youth Crisis Center, which is by Labonte Park, and then our Community Resource Center, which is on South 5th. Cathedral Home in a year serves 640 people. That was our 2024 impact number. And of that, 467 are through the programs that we are here to talk to you about tonight. So the largest percentage of who we work with and what we do is happening in the Laramie community. People can self-refer to these services. They can be referred. But I think one of the greatest things about our crisis center and resource center is that anyone can just show up. No one has to tell you that it's okay or send you there or anything of that nature. So one of the things that I think is important and was definitely highlighted by some other presenters this evening, but One of the largest predictors of how well a community is, how healthy they are, is the number of opportunities available to youth, to kids, teens, their families. And so the programs that we're seeking your help with are providing crisis care for kids 0 to 17. A parent can bring them, law enforcement can bring them. They can walk across from the park and say, I don't have anywhere else to be. They may be at the crisis center for an hour, a week, a month. We recently had a young man, it was a special case, but he was there for 2 years, graduated from high school, and that was his home until he was an adult and living on his own. And then the resource center really allows for people to have ongoing support. So you may have a crisis, and rather than saying, okay, good luck, be on your way, we have case management, we have parenting education, we have independent living classes for young people, so that those problems that they addressed in kind of crisis mode, that they have the opportunity to build long-term solutions. And we're not asking people to pay anything to receive that care, to be supported in, navigating whatever it is that they need. For people to be able to get what they need in our community without having to leave or be placed out of town somewhere is a really significant thing. And I think it's something we should be proud of as a community for sure. Do you want to talk about kind of where the funding goes, what we're doing with it?
So this funding that we're asking for is going to our community programs, so the Laramie Youth Crisis Center and the Resource Center, like Rachel said. So these are part of our prevention programs. And to us, prevention, is just kind of building those protective factors, meeting people where they are and getting them what they need when they need it. So out of our 640 clients that we served last year, 467 of those were served through one of these community programs, so that's 89%, so a vast majority. And we've seen a big increase in the need for these services. Also, over the past 5 years, we've seen a 212% increase in families seeking services at our resource center. So a majority of our clients are served through these community programs, which is directly supported by this funding.
Do you all have questions for us?
Thank you for your presentation. Are there any questions? All right, seeing none, thank you, Rachel and Caroline. We appreciate your coming. Our next presenter, Epson Center for Seniors, and Tammy Comer. Welcome, Tammy.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for entertaining all of us tonight, and just know that I appreciate the difficult decisions that you guys have to make in all of this. We appreciate the work that you guys do, all of you and your staff and everybody else, so thank you for taking your time to hear us out. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Tammy Comer. I'm the Executive Director at the Epson Center for Seniors, and I've been there for 8 years now. I'm a Laramie girl and went to school here, so Laramie, the community is really close to my heart. And I appreciate, like I said, the difficult decisions that you guys have in talking to all of us and hearing from all of us. Tonight, I want to thank you for your past support of the Epson Center and share how much the patrons benefit from the partnership that we have with the City of Laramie and the Albany County Community Partners Program. Last year, we served over 59,000 meals. That is a new highlight for us. It's over twice what we've served since the time that I've been there. So in the 8 years, we've seen that go from about 28,000 meals to almost 60,000 meals now. Oh. So that was last year's. That included 900 staff meals, because I feed our staff for free as far as that goes. Just over 40,000 home delivered meals, 5,000 takeouts, and 13,400 congregate meals. Right now we have a staff of 21 people, so I'm glad to say that we're fully staffed, and so again, these funds that we get from the city and the county help us to be able to provide that staff and get the people that we need and be able to offer them some, comparable wages as far as that goes. We're doing our best to get there. Last year, we provided 8,800 rides. Of those 8,800 rides, 39% or 3,390 of them were medical rides here in town. We have a 5-mile radius that we use to be able to do our rides from, so that we can make sure we can use our equipment to the best of our ability. And so that gives us time to take care of all the people that are living within that 5-mile radius. That included almost 2,000 social rides, 1,800 personal rides, 1,250 nutrition rides, and 466 rides for people to get to their employment. Last year, we provided over 39,000 opportunities for activities, and so that can be anything from a game to play, to bingo, to a presentation about something that's going on here in our city, just musical presentations, all kinds of things, and so that incorporates a lot of our activities. 800 pieces of durable medical equipment were loaned out last year, and we do that free of charge to our community. We take those donations in and get those back out to people, so that we can, number one, keep a lot of that stuff out of the dump and the landfill, but also getting people that head up, when they don't have the extra $75 to pay a walker, or to pay for a walker, when they've gotten out of the hospital, and it just makes it easier to not have to have those extra expenses when you're not ready for them. Last year, 170 volunteers donated over 7,000 hours of service to our center. We simply could not do it without the volunteers that we have, and we're getting ready to appreciate them next month for Volunteer Appreciation. We had about 1,750 individual clients last year. 93% of those clients are age 60 and older, and an amazing 14% are over the age of 85. And so that's something really cool, I think. Last year we had 438 new patrons, which includes 312 new people either coming of age or moving to town. 126 people who had come at one time and came back after a 3-year stint. And that also takes care of, we had 99 deaths last year out of the patrons that we had. So when we're looking at building 438 patrons, you have to subtract in and add everybody out, and so it's pretty phenomenal, the people that we're able to reach. We're doing about 208 check-ins per day, so that means Monday through Friday we've got 208 things that people can check in, so between rides and meals and, again, educational activities, games, all of that, there's always something going on down at the center. The reason that our partnership with you guys and other partners like you guys is so important, it's because we do everything for our patrons on a voluntary basis. The state doesn't allow us to fix a price to things. We're able to ask for a suggested donation, and so that's what we do. But just so you guys know, program income only accounts for about 2% in life enrichment, which that's all of our activities, so our people who have participated only are about able to pay 2%. About 7% in transportation, 16% in congregate, and oddly enough, the highest number of contributors to the program we have are the people that are on HDM, and those people are also at a lower income level and oftentimes confined to their homes. And so to me, that tells me what that means to those people. And if I could just take one more second, I wanted to read you guys a card that we got from a family member of somebody who recently passed. And it says, "Dear Epson Center friends, I don't really know how to thank you enough for all you did for Ron for so many years. You gave him love, friendship, community, food, and yes, exercise. You enriched his life, and I feel sure he enriched yours. He lived a long and unique life, always thinking about others. He's happy now on horseback enjoying Wyoming's country on behalf of his family, the little sister." And so we get notes like that every day, and I just thought it was important for you guys to hear some of those.
Thank you, Tammy.
Any questions?
Are there any questions? Councilor Vigil.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Tammy, for being here. I found that number of meals served from the 20,000 to the 60,000 is like wild. And so what do you think is some of the bigger contributing factors for that?
So, first of all, when I got there, the center had been through a rough time, and things weren't going really like they should have been. So when I got in, it was not a very good time for the center. So it's been my mission since I got there to just make sure that every year we hit bigger and higher numbers. And so, yeah, for instance, I got there in 2016, and that fiscal year we had 10,000 congregate meals and 13,866 home-delivered meals. So 23,000 meals compared to our 59,000 in 8 years. And so I have an incredible staff, an incredible board, and again, the support of the county and city community partners helps us all to get there and get these folks taken care of.
Thank you, Tammy.
Really appreciate you guys.
Any further questions? All right, seeing none, thank you so much. We appreciate your presentation. Next, we have Family Promise of Albany County and Celeste Quinton. Good evening, Celeste.
Good evening. Hi, everyone. I'm Celeste Quinton. I'm the new executive director at Family Promise. So I started in September. So I don't know everybody's faces yet, but I'm excited to be in front of you and chat with you all. I put together just a brief presentation to talk a little bit about Family Promise and what we do, and share some of the really exciting changes that have happened over the last year. First, I have to always start with how we started. So Family Promise is actually a affiliate of a national entity. Yeah, thank you. So we started with this lovely woman, Karen. Karen was on a walk and happened to pass Millie, and Millie needed a sandwich. She just asked for a meal, and Karen had a lovely conversation with Millie and realized that homelessness is so much more than not having a house. It's running out of resources and community connections. And of that, Family Promise was born. So Family Promise of Albany County is one of 200 plus affiliates across the nation. On our next slide, we actually have a map that shows that. I really like to see how spread out we are, all the way down Hawaii and all the way up in Alaska. In Wyoming, there are only 2. So we are here, and then we have some friends over the hill in Cheyenne. So we have been in Albany County for 9 years now, so 10 years is coming up, and we're super excited to celebrate that. Locally, we are dedicated to supporting families experiencing homelessness. So our mission is to assist families experiencing homelessness and at risk of experiencing homelessness through a community-based response. So we do things such as, can we go 2 slides? Our PATH program, which is rental and utility assistance for families. So in 2024, we served 49 families through that program. So that is our biggest program. That includes things like, my car broke down this month and I had to use my rent money to pay for my car to be fixed so I could get to work so I could pay rent next month. So supporting families as they go through that. And some one-on-one case management. So we have a case manager on staff who has meetings with folks to discuss their budgets. Maybe some expenses can be cut. Maybe they didn't know about Interfaith Food Pantry and we can send them over there to our friends. So connecting them with those resources. And then we also have our temporary shelter program. So that program is shrinking year by year because our goal is to keep families in homes. So we like to catch them before they've even had to experience what homelessness feels like. So last year we served 4 families. That is kind of how Family Promise got its start, but for us that shifted. When we first started here in Laramie, that was congregations, so we were housed in churches with our community partners, with families moving week to week, which led to kiddos having different bus stops every week and different times they had to get up. And so we shifted in 2020 with the pandemic to being in hotels. So families are able to stay in that hotel for up to 4 weeks while they can gather money for, first and last, or maybe they can get a better job so that way there's an affordable house in their future. So we do that program. Last year, those 2 programs served 200 community members-ish, with about half of those being youth. So anybody under 18 in the community. So that's really awesome to think about. And then we also have our diaper and hygiene pantry, which distributed 39,000 diapers in 2024. That number actually got a little closer to 40,000, which is awesome. When we first started tracking that, we were in the 20,000s. So we're seeing a pretty big increase there. And then in October, we took over the Wyoming Kids Closet. So I'll talk a little bit more about both of those programs. So the diaper and hygiene pantry, I wanted to highlight that because of that continuing need and growth. That program does not require people to have minors or dependents in the household, so it's open to anybody in the community. Being in the United Presbyterian Church, we were right across the street from campus, so the amount of international students that pop over, we've seen an increase in that because we have anything from shampoo, conditioner, deodorant to laundry soap or multi-purpose cleaner, when I have it in stock, of course, because that is all community supported. So we're able to give those things to folks. Folks can come twice a month or once a month for like a bigger visit. We just have to limit things due to the donation based. So like I said, 39,000 diapers last year. That's an insane number. We actually just got a bulk order of 23,000 diapers, and I've never seen so many diapers in my life, and it's not even a year's worth yet. So I also wanted to highlight our mobile pantry because that also contributes to the growth. So we got Spark Tank funding a couple years ago to have a mobile pantry. So this pantry is something that we can haul out in the community. We can go to farmers markets. We can pop by when our friends have back to school bash and have that available for people to utilize. We're hoping to get it out more this summer too, as we have more staff that can drive it. Driving a trailer is a terrifying task and we have to learn together. So we're taking that out for everyone and getting that around. It's so much fun to learn, especially in an alleyway. So we have gotten that out a lot more this last summer and hope to continue doing so throughout the year, even taking it to events like Sidewalk Chalk Art or Laramie Range Ford. And then we also just took over the Wyoming Kids Closet, like I talked about in October. This has been a huge undertaking for our staff. So when we first took over the Kids Closet, which used to be the Laramie Foster Closet, lots of names, but we kept the logo because it's really cool. It was a room that needed a lot of love and attention because they hadn't had staff for a while. And so we have been working to sort through that and have distributed 300 items of clothing year to date.
Thank you, Celeste. Are there any questions for Celeste? Vice Mayor Richardson.
Thank you. Celeste, thank you for the presentation. You noted that you served 4 families in a temporary shelter. How many families can you serve in that space?
So our temporary shelter, now that it's in hotels, it's completely dependent on what's going on in the community.
Okay. Okay, sorry. So I am confusing things. So the shelter that is within the church, do you use that anymore? No. Okay. All right. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, of course.
Seeing no further questions, Celeste, thank you very much. Next, Hospice of Laramie, Sarah Kirkland. Welcome, Sarah.
Good evening. So I'm Sarah Kirkland. I'm the new executive director with Hospice of Laramie. I've only been there for, maybe 4 months now. So forgive me if I can't answer all of your questions if I don't know the answers yet. So while she pulls up our presentation here, we have both an in-house facility and then we also have community patients as well. So we can hold up to 6 people in our community house, and then we also can serve pretty much countless numbers of people in the community. So last year, if you want to go to the next slide, we served 114 patients in the community, equaling over 6,000 days of patient care in their homes and in the hospice house. And then I kind of wanted to highlight the top one. We provided numerous hours of people getting to just be a family. And so one of our volunteers recently told me that his father was going through hospice. He said that it just let me be a son again. And I think that that's a pretty cool anecdotal story, because he was able to just spend time being a son and not a caretaker. And I thought that was pretty great. We also just reimagined our volunteer program back in October, creating a core group of excellent and dedicated volunteers. It kind of was a little bit of a rocky start, but we had over 300 volunteer hours last year of volunteer service, and that's continuing to grow as we sort of revitalize and rebuild that program. And then we also have support groups available to our families and loved ones. Those are also open to the community. So we have Good Grief, which is a group for anyone who has lost someone recently. We have Survivors of Suicide, which is a suicidal support group for those who have lost someone. And then we also have a prayer group for people who just kind of want to come in and have that opportunity to recognize and think about people that they have lost. Next slide. As many people here have mentioned today, we have lots of community partnerships throughout the community, and I think that that's what makes Laramie such a cool place in general. But this is all places that we've been able to work with. Like Epson Center mentioned, they've got a durable medical equipment closet. We do as well, and we can kind of work together to make sure that all of the needs of the community are met when it comes to those things for people who aren't able to afford them new. So this year's funding support will go towards some kind of maintenance issues that have sort of arisen. As they built this building, it was in 2017, it's kind of grown over time and has obviously getting older, and the budget to take care of those maintenance items has not grown with it. And so the Sears funding specifically would go towards the boiler repair. We lost a boiler about 2 weeks ago. It wasn't great. And then our 4-year generator maintenance, and then a portion of a maintenance contract for ongoing repairs and upkeep. And I did want to mention too that the board is committed to providing a budget for this moving forward. So this should be a one-time ask and never be asked for again. So, and then thank you for supporting us.
Thank you, Sarah.
Absolutely.
Are there any questions?
Wonderful.
Seeing none, thank you very much for your presentation. Next on the list is Laramie 247 and Chris Stratton.
Hello.
Welcome,
thank you
Chris.
very much. First time presenting, so this is Laramie 24/7. Our history, we were founded January 1st, 2023. Laramie 24/7 hit the ground running with a clear mission to serve our community by providing top-notch broadcast and streaming services. Right from the start, we partnered with local organizations, including the City of Laramie, and leveraged the dedication of our volunteer staff to fuel our growth. After a year of hard work, we proudly achieved our 501c3 status on April 15th of 2024. This milestone marked a accumulation of 2 years of meticulous planning, equipment acquisition, and software development. Today, we're thrilled to announce that we have the completion of our state-of-the-art television studio, 2 fully equipped mobile production studios. With these resources in place, we are now more than ready to fulfill our mission to bring Laramie high-quality news, broadcasts, and programming made by our community for our community. A little bit about us, our values: we are politically neutral. Our viewers come from all walks of life. At Laramie 24/7, it's our goal to be an important voice of reason, focus, and fair, balanced programming made by our diverse membership. We don't play favorites, nor do we pick sides in political debate. We're focused on delivering informative content that seeks to inspire dialogue between all sides, regardless of political differences or religious beliefs. Citizen grounded, we strive to promote the needs of the citizens in our community rather than the interests of big business. We bring community closer together through conversations about stories and topics that matter most to them. By doing so, we hope to foster meaningful connections and support local businesses, create employment opportunities, and improve our community with content made for our community, by our community. We provide a space for voices to be heard and foster a stronger sense of community engagement and support. Alignment with City of Laramie goals. Laramie 24/7 aligns closely with City of Laramie's 25 goals by fostering civic engagement, promoting transparency, and strengthening community ties. As a politically neutral, citizen-grounded public access television station, Laramie 24/7 serves as a key platform for two-way communication between residents and city leadership, reinforcing Laramie's values of accountability and integrity. The organization's commitment to producing locally driven news and programming directly supports the city's strategic milestone of enhancing digital and visual communication channels. Additionally, by providing a space for for diverse voices and community-driven storytelling, Laramie 24/7 contributes to public engagement efforts, economic development, and supports local business, aligning with the city's objectives to foster partnerships and address complex community issues. The synergy ensures that Laramie 24/7 is not just a media entity, but an essential part in the city's broader mission to create informed, connected, and thriving community. Laramie 24/7 is requesting $7,750 from both the City of Laramie and Albany County, totaling $15,000 as part of our proposed 2025 to 2026 budget. These funds will be instrumental in expanding our operations, creating new jobs, and supporting local multimedia journalists. With a total projected yearly expense of $28,035.38, The financial support will directly contribute to hiring key staff, including a showrunner, switchboard operator, 2 camera operators, a graphic software operator, and a anchor. These positions will not only enhance the ability to deliver high-quality, community-focused news, but also provide stable employment opportunities within Laramie's growing media sector. By investing in Laramie 24/7, the city and county are fostering a stronger local media landscape, promoting transparency and empowering the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Any questions? Councilor Newman?
Chris, thanks for the presentation. And this is probably going to be a two-part.
Okay.
How much do you bill us, the city, currently to run our meetings every Tuesday?
Currently, it's $25 an hour, and it usually goes for about 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours of time.
And because I was reading, follow up, please. Yeah.
Follow up.
Because I was reading in here, it says that you're going to use this money to help produce this show.
We've been using anything that we create, doing like the business partnerships that we have with you and the UU Church and a few other organizations. All of that's done volunteer by our staff, and then we utilize anything that we get for that to foster continued engagement into.
The $25,
Yes.
is that a contract, or can we up that?
You could up that, definitely. It's in contract right now. Nancy,
Do you know how long?
we're on a yearly contract usually.
Okay. Thank you.
Further questions? Councilor Bowling?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Chris. I'm curious, in your proposed 26 budget,
Yes.
Which goes up, it's a nice big jump for a young organization. There's a $2,500 line item for memberships. Can you talk a little bit about what those memberships might
We're
be?
actually working with a membership strategy, which we'll utilize as an open invitation for anybody who would like to become a member of Laramie 24/7. With that, we'll also do training and educational items so that people can start doing anything in the community television sector. It's our hopeful goal that we get memberships. And we're looking, currently we're building that off of a Patreon and also on our Discord server.
Thank you, Chris. We appreciate your presentation.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Next, Laramie Climb, Wyoming, and Nicole Sherwood. Welcome, Nicole.
Good evening, councilors and commissioners, and thank you for hosting us as always. So I'm Nicole Sherwood, the Laramie Program Director for Climb Wyoming. And as many of you know, we work with single low-income moms, and we provide free job training and job placement for those women. We've been a statewide organization for almost 40 years now. And we know that single moms in our state have one of the highest poverty rates that we see in Wyoming. And so our mission is to help them not just survive, but also to thrive. And we know that job success, long-term job success, is part of that. And we know that that leads to family success immediately, and we know that that leads to long-term generational success for their families and their children. And we know that that leads to statewide success too. So some of the statistics I've provided, because I know that we've heard a lot of numbers tonight, so I don't mean to add to that. But just looking at those, these are just our 2024 stats at the top. We served 123 moms in 2024 alone. And that looks like candidates that come through our program, helping them connect with our community partners for housing, for food, for childcare. That looks like the participants that we actually have that come through program and that we serve them in our 12-week job training and placement program, and the graduates that have come to us needing either an updated resume or some conflict resolution at work so that they can stay in their jobs. It looks a lot of different ways. And so And part of our funding that we ask for is because we do rely on so many of our community partners. I mean, we have some of them here. We have, Family Promise and Interfaith are two of our big partners for rental assistance. And we know that coming through our program, the end goal is to get them off of those benefits and off of that reliance. And as you see at the bottom of our sheet here, the $120 million, that's the statewide savings that Climb has, that we've estimated that we've saved the state in benefits, just SNAP benefits alone, for moms that come through our program and families that come through our program. We have almost 80% that report less food stamp use. And then we have, as you see, our wages. I mean, they more than double their wages after program. That statistic is about 2 years after program. So the funding for our program is 80% going towards program itself. And that looks like hiring qualified trainers to instruct the women. We do things like CNA, MA, professional careers. We have a trades program that's starting next week. And so we work with our community employer partners to see what the need is and what the mom's interests are. That also looks like work success coaching, case management, and then we are primarily a mental health service-driven organization. So we know that work success looks a lot more than just a resume and an interview. It looks like long-term mental health coaching so that they can keep and sustain a job. So, and our funding, just to note, is that we have worked really hard in the last few years to diversify our funding. So we have about 50% that's federal funding and 50% that is private funding. And our donor retention rate is, I mean, it's in the 70s because we are relationship driven. And that's all the stats I have. I mean, you guys have the stats up there. I don't want to go through and read all of those, but I'm here for any questions that you might have of how our program operates.
Thank you, Nicole.
Yeah.
Are there any questions? Councilor Freed.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Nicole, for the presentation. A quick question. You guys are 501c3, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep. Yeah, we have 6 sites across the state, so.
Further questions? Nicole, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next is the Laramie Downtown Clinic, and Clinic Director Pete Gosar. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, Chair of the County Commission, City Council and County Commission. Thank you so much. I am here, the Executive Director of the Downtown Clinic, a free healthcare clinic in Laramie for the last 25 years, a quarter of a century. Hard to imagine that it started with 4 people on one night in Albany County Public Health's building. So next slide, please. These are some of the people who serve on our board. And you'll see, next slide, please, we don't spend too much time with the healthcare theme. Healthcare, in our opinion, is way balanced towards clinics and hospitals. When 25% of your health is derived in a clinic or hospital, 75% is where you live, where you work, where you play, who you talk to. And so we spend a lot of time in gardens and housing and food and toiletries. That is healthcare to us. Next slide, please. And we're about stories. Nancy here left her life, her social work job, to take care of a mom and a husband. 2 decades later, she was taking care of that person. She didn't know when she left her job that she left health insurance behind. We have been her primary care facility for some 20 years. She's an amazing person, and I think we would celebrate a person choosing to leave life to pick family. But sometimes it comes at such a high cost. Thank goodness for the good people who founded the Downtown Clinic for Nancy. Next slide, please. These are some of our accomplishments, and like Tammy from the Senior Center, 10 years ago in October, I will have taken over as the Executive Director. That year, 1,600 visits of primary care, of total visits. Last year, nearly double, all without charge. We think about our mission not only to provide health, but to provide the leaders in health for the next generation. 7 paid internships last year. Reception people, intake people, people working in a dispensary, all those people that I'm familiar with have gone on to graduate with healthcare degrees. Mobile clinic, meeting people where they were, delivering healthcare, social work primarily. in a mobile clinic. It's amazing what you'll find. I'm the driver of the mobile clinic, and it's a good fortune to be that. What people won't tell you, but when you show up at their home, what you learn to find. And then last year set a personal or a clinic record, 657 vaccinations, all without charge, 4,000 prescription medications. That number, we have quantified every pill that left the building, is over 525,000 in prescription medications delivered to our community free of charge. It takes an amazing amount of volunteer effort, an amazing dedication by staff to make that happen. But we are certainly proud of that number. The ask for you comes directly to that dispensing number. It'll be 7,500 from the city and also 7,500 to the county to help with the purchase of wholesale prescription medications that we cannot get through free and charitable pharmacies online, and also to help offset the salaries of pharmacy tech interns who manage our pharmacy. Those are generally pharmacy students, and the P3 trains the next pharmacy manager, first-year pharmacy student. With that said, I think what I've come to know in 10 years, it's a very personal lesson. I think I walked around with the idea that nothing bad would ever happen to me. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Let's give you a little bit more numbers. And then the next slide, please. This is really, we don't have a dedicated funding source. We earn funding every year through grants or donations. Look at what it takes to make a small clinic run. I'm so proud of my community, so proud of my county. This is an amazing thing. Next slide, please. Health is never guaranteed. You'll notice a resemblance. That's my sister. She was a doctor in a fairly thriving family practice medication clinic until she had cancer. And the world collapses, as you might imagine. And all of it can collapse. And it can collapse for you. And the number one driver of personal bankruptcy is healthcare. We see people who are there because they are bankrupt with healthcare bills. It's an amazing irony, but a lesson that is not lost. Next slide, please. And thank you. We are so grateful to live in this community, to work in this community, to work with these amazing partners that we are so proud to be able to call friends. And I would thank you so very much, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for Director Gosar? Seeing none, thank you very much. We appreciate your presentation. Next, Laramie Home on the Range, Animal Haven, Deborah Roberts. Welcome, Deborah.
Actually, slight change. My name is Lori Bonini, but I'm also with, that's okay, we just switched off. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk with you this evening. We did provide a copy of our newsletter, so I encourage you to take a look at that to learn a little bit more about us. We're actually heading into our 13th year as Laramie and Albany County's first and only farm animal sanctuary, and we're currently home to 20 neglected, abused, and abandoned animals, including 3 horses, 5 ponies, 5 donkeys, 5 goats, 1 sheep, and Sunny the kitty. They all came to us through no fault of their own and are not available for adoption. They will spend the rest of their lives with us. We're requesting $6,500 this year. This would cover approximately 36% of our yearly expense for feed and supplements. As you'll note in the application, last year the average daily cost of basic feed was $27 and change. So we expect prices to, of course, increase once again this year. The additional $41,500 needed for the annual operating costs will be covered by fundraising events, WyoGives participation, and private donations. In November this past year, we hosted the 2nd annual Family Fun Fair, and that involved local artists, interactive stations, craft projects, and educational booths. An additional community resource is going to be added this summer using grant funds from the Wyoming Community Foundation. A community canine training and recreation area is being developed on a section of Hora. This area will be for recreation and for training. It's not a doggy daycare. Patrons will be required to remain with and be responsible for their dogs at all times while they're using that area. Summer's always a really busy time with Hora. Clients from Cathedral Home and their counselors will resume their visits. Volunteers from Big Brothers Big Sisters, ARC Regional Services, the University of Wyoming, WyoTech, and other community members are an invaluable part of keeping Hora running. They assist with cleanup of the paddock, planting garden beds, mending fences, general chores, and everyone's favorite, grooming the animals. Heron Consulting Group helped build a hay shelter this year. Leadership Laramie came out on a tour with several members who came back the next few months to lend a hand. Tri-Hydro Leadership Group did spring cleanup, and First Interstate Bank employees spent an afternoon for their commitment to community volunteer day, insulating the loafing sheds, which provides more winter protection for the equines. In 2024, we touched the lives of over 230 community members, ranging from 6-year-old kiddos to 82-year-old seasoned adults. Along with the good times, we've had some sad moments. Earlier this month, Peeps the sheep passed away. She was one of our first family members with Hora, and she lived with us for 13 years. She had a long life of 14 years and was originally a bum lamb from the university. A person adopted her, and they took her to live on she lived in their house until she just got too big, which, sheep do, they grow. So she put Peebs out to pasture, and then the pasture flooded. And so she asked if we would take Peebs for just a little while until she could find another pasture for her to go to. And that was in the spring. And in October of that year, the person had actually left Laramie, had moved, and hadn't said anything, hadn't given us contact information, and Peebs was basically abandoned. But she spent the rest of her life, the next 13 years, with us. And she gave such joy to people. She was a wonderful animal. She had her best friend was Sunny, the cat, who misses her dearly. And all of the other animals and individuals who have the opportunity to interact with her feel the same. So this is the tough part of, working with animals or having animals that end up eventually leaving. But we celebrate their lives, and we celebrate the way that they transform the human beings who interact with them. We're asking for your continued support because your funding truly makes a difference and allows us to provide opportunities that aren't found anywhere else in Laramie or Albany County for intimate, humane interaction between humans and the animals that reside around us. We believe that the mental health benefits, the therapeutic and rehabilitative properties, both emotional and physical, of these relationships are so important to all of us. In a very real way, we rescue animals, but the animals also help rescue us. Thank you again so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Lori. Hold on. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you for your presentation. Next, Laramie Interfaith, Josh Watanabe. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you, Mayor, County Commissioners, and City Council. City Council, I apologize for, first off, for missing the Community Gas Awards. That was not my intention at all, but that support really does mean a lot to us. You have a handout that I've given out to you. I didn't have time to make a presentation. Over the past year, we've had a lot of changes here at Interfaith on the food pantry side. In order to balance both client needs and staff needs, we've shifted our hours, which has worked out really well, I think, for clients from what we've heard. We're now open until 6 o'clock on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We'll still be open till about 4:30, 5 o'clock, Mondays and Wednesdays, but that extra hour helps to allow people to come into our food pantry after working jobs, or just gives them more access. We're also open for a couple hours on Saturdays currently. Our board members are trying to get a rotating schedule so that we can make sure that we're getting people on Saturdays. It's not always the easiest thing for folks to come in Monday through Friday while they're working. They need food. In addition to that, we shifted for the past 36 years, to my knowledge, as we've given out food. We've given out food in a grocery sack, and we've based on a household. So a small household would get 1 grocery sack of food. The next size would get 2 sacks, and the larger families would get 3 sacks. If you have family-sized portions and boxes, and over the past 30 years, food packing just changes, that's not a equitable system of how to measure food. You fill your bag up with a box of saltines now if you wanted to. And so what we've done is we've modeled our pantry after pantries down in Denver, pantries across the nation that use a point system. The number of folks in the family determines the number of points that they'll get out of nutritional and food categories. The categories that we used are based off of a combination of the FAST system from the University of Wisconsin, as well as a place called Community Table in Arvada, Colorado. And the end result is that our clients get more choice, and they're also getting about 75% more food. You can see in our totals that we were able to increase the amount of food we gave out to the community by a huge number. A portion of that is just giving them more food and not using grocery sacks as a means of measurement. But that's also us being able to bring in more food each year. On the client services side of things, and this is where the money that we've requested really supports. We try to focus this all towards clients. I think most of you know we will pay rent, we'll pay water bills, gas bills, things to keep people in their homes, or we'll pay to try to get them into their homes. Each year we look for matching grants. We use this directly for a matching grant. We started the State of Wyoming's Emergency Solutions Grant here in January, which does require a match. And so we'll use the money from last year's community partner funding to match that this year. That allows us to bring in extra money to keep people moving forward. Throughout the year, we partner with everybody in this room, I think, a lot. One of our biggest partners, though, is VOA. We're not a mental health facility. Folks who come to us need a lot of that mental health support. And so with a portion of that ESG money this year, we're trying to re-prop up what VOA had launched, which was called the HAVOC program, which focuses on giving people that mental health support, keeping them in weekly case management to get them off the streets, moving from homelessness into a home, into jobs, into a sustainable living situation. So far, we've had 2 people through that this year. Again, we just started this in January, but so far that's done pretty well as well. I try not to read the numbers. There's a lot of numbers up there, but we serve a large portion of the community here. We also have our pantry in Rock River. We take typically anywhere between 600 to 1,000 pounds per month up to Rock River. That pantry is just there in the town hall. Folks can take food as they need it. There's nobody up there to monitor that, but yeah. A lot of people ask where our food comes from. We're still about a third donations, a third purchased, and a third of our food comes from federal food programs. We play host for the USDA commodities distribution, which will happen this week. It's a once-a-month distribution for income-limited folks. Last year, we also started the community support food, CSFP, commodities supplement food program, sorry. Which gives a dedicated box to income-limited seniors. So,
thank you very much, Josh. Are there any questions for Josh? Vice Mayor Richardson.
Thank you. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate you going over all this information. I recognize the request is more centered around housing, but in bringing up the USDA partnership that you have, or I shouldn't say partnership, but the funding that you receive, do you anticipate cuts to that funding based on the USDA cuts at the federal level?
So we don't receive any USDA funding directly.
Okay.
The USDA program is food that the state of Wyoming purchases somehow with Food Bank of Wyoming. I'm not entirely sure who owns all of that.
Okay.
It's then sent to us. Yes, there will be cuts to that program. There are also cuts to other USDA programs. One of those is a direct purchase program that Food Bank of Wyoming had, where they lost $500,000 a few weeks ago. All of that will impact us. We're just not sure where right now. It's all happening sort of as we speak.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much, Josh. Next, Laramie Soup Kitchen. Ted Kramer. Welcome, Ted.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and councilors and commissioners for the opportunity to talk tonight. So Laramie Soup Kitchen's been in operation for just over 40 years, since 1983. I wanted to share historically where the funding goes for our community partner funding is to supply money towards our food recovery program. So food recovery team is the individuals who go around town who collect food and then redistribute it around to other partners as well. Following Josh, of course, I wanted to mention that 37% of the food that we collected or redistributed last year actually went to Interfaith. So we have partnerships we gave to 21 agencies, and we're also collect from about 20 retailer outlets, businesses, caterers, things like that. A couple of big numbers I wanted to share with you, which are up there, is that hit a new record for the amount of donated food at 185,000 pounds. And so that's an average of 740 pounds a day. And this team of individuals, they're driving around town, they're driving about 250 miles a month. So, which is pretty impressive for how small Laramie is. So they're making a ton of trips to those grocery stores, but then also to all of our partners. But these other entities that hit the top percents, so 16% went to Epson Center, and 27% went to Youth Crisis Center. And the Youth Crisis Center is a hub for Cathedral Home, so they distribute to all the Cathedral Home programs as part of that. One thing that the reason why we redistribute food is because we have a resource and we believe it's important to share it. As it turns out, of the food that we redistributed, 88% was fresh. So fresh items are always more expensive. And so if we can share that resource with other agencies, then that means that they aren't spending money on a very premium resource to be able to share with their clients. It also improves food security across the community, not just the individuals that come to the soup kitchen, let's say, but people who go to every single different nonprofit. And some of the other things I wanted to draw attention to is the pie charts at the bottom of this one is we are not essentially federally funded. So anything that's going on at the federal level, luckily at this point, has no direct relationship on our programs. We're very secure, we're very grassroots. The green is showing that 96% is coming from usually local, private, non-governmental funding. The orange is showing that we never charge for any services. So all food redistributed to other agencies is always done so for free. And even though we are asking for a little bit more, so our ask this year is a little bit more than last year, $2,000 more on the city side, $1,000 more on the county side. But if you were to look at the last year's purple chart, the percents would be almost identical. So we, as we grow, we're not waiting in a different way. We're still serving about 50,000 meals. 30,000 of those are hot. 20,000 are in the, oh, sorry. Yeah, that's right. 30,000 are hot, 20,000 are additional packaged meals. So once again, we can serve even more people that way. And we're still asking for about 40% of our operating budget for these positions. There is a change from last year, and the reason why, if you were to just compare last year's ask to this year's ask, if you're just to compare the total numbers for the programs, they are higher this year. And the reason why is because we elevated one of the two food recovery positions into a full-time 33-hour-per-week position. And we provided benefits as well. He's really shown that he has a huge commitment. He's growing new partnerships. Our goal for next year is actually to bring in over 200,000 pounds and to also continue to increase the amount of food going to other agencies. So he's really excited to continue to do that. That's so that we've kind of elevated his position and then combine the two positions again, and then that's part of what this ask is. So.
Thank you, Ted. Are there any questions? All right, seeing none, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Our next presenter is New Life Church, Lisa Evans. Welcome, Lisa.
Hello, my name is Lisa Evans, and I'll be sharing today about the New Life Church Outreach Team. One of the ways you might see us around the community would be our Easter egg hunt that happens annually with lots of candy and prizes for the kids. Shameless plug, on April 13th, we've got a kids Easter egg hunt that's going to be happening at the Quadrangle if you'd like to join us or know anybody who would like to. The main reason I'm here to talk to you today would be about our back to school event. Thank you. We'd be on the next slide. Thank you. Sorry. One of the things I'd like to talk about is the walkthrough of this event for the back to school event. At that event, many of you may have been there. You might have already seen what we're doing, but the idea would be that we are serving kids K through 12. We're providing each kid a free pair of tennis shoes and a backpack full of school supplies. It starts when the families pair up with a volunteer who washes their feet, washes the kids' feet, gives them a brand new pair of socks. They try on some shoes and find a pair that they like. Then they get a backpack full of school supplies that's brand new and age appropriate. They then get to go get a free hot dog and free soda pit drink. Last year we gave out 1,000 Butcher Block hot dogs and we gave out 800 soda pit drinks, all for free. This last year, it was at the fairgrounds. And when I tell you the line was wrapped around the building, it was not an exaggeration. This is a need in our community. Nobody will wait in a line that long if it's not a need for their family. Knowing that the lines are long, there's a temptation to rush. We could rush it, make it super transactional, bam, bam, bam. Everybody, have a nice day, get out, right? You got what you want, you have your free stuff, have a nice day. More could they want, right? But we practice efficiency to keep the lines moving through every step of the process. But each step of the process, the kids are greeted with kind volunteers that want to help every child feel taken care of. They are not a burden. They are the star of this show. We serve every child with the same integrity and love, no matter what their financial status. In 2017, that was the first year that New Life Church put this event together. A single mom showed up to this event. She was feeling out of sorts and kind of skeptical, like, is it really a free backpack, or are they going to force me to join their church if I take the free backpack for my kids? Turns out, years later, she still remembers that day. It was one of the first days that her and her children really felt seen and taken care of with no strings attached. That mom was me. I am a single mom of 3 school-age kids. We needed those backpacks, but we also learned that day that what we also needed, more than anything, was a community to make us feel wanted. There's a heart to this service. What we're doing here matters. Since that year, my kids and I have given back and served with a passion. This is a mission we can get behind. If my predictions are wrong, and we don't use all of the supplies that we have, those will go to the Laramie Middle School, where Lisa Tice already has a great closet for the low-income students. Last year, we gave out about 80 backpacks and 80 pairs of extra socks that we had left over. The backpacks are full of school supplies. I just want to take a moment and thank you for this opportunity to share my heart. This is the first time we've asked for funds, and we just know that this is going to continue to grow. We know that this is going to be approximately 400 students based on the trajectory of this event, and we know that this is going to be so much help for this event when the money can be fickle for families in this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Are there any questions?
I have a quick question.
Oh,
sorry.
Oh, sorry, Vice Mayor.
And I apologize if I missed this in your application, but how do you do outreach for this? And is it open to any member of the community?
It is.
Great.
I'm sorry, I had such a great speech planned, and I went 7 minutes, and so today I cut way too much, and that was included.
So, right, you planted that. I was ready. I was like, I knew that I need to ask that question.
Everyone is welcome. We actually encourage families of all varieties. We don't want it to feel like charity where it's something that they have to attend because their families can't afford it. It's for every age level of K through 12 and every family of every income level. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Next is Regency Retirement Residents of Laramie, and Christine Koss. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, councilors, and commissioners. I first want to thank you for your support last year. My name is Christine Koss, and I am the Executive Director for the Regency Retirement Residents in Laramie. A little bit about the Regency, since there are new faces. We are a 501c3 independent living for seniors, carefree, safe, and very affordable. We typically see retired folks that are your school teachers, police officers, law enforcement, firemen, teachers, and staff from the university. There is not a lot of senior housing for this middle income. We have a lot of low income. Our seniors wouldn't fit that. They wouldn't qualify. However, our affordability makes it a nice place for seniors who are living on approximately $40,000 fixed income, and they need a place to stay. Seniors don't just come to us and stay forever. We typically house between 30 and 35 people at a time. We have 24 units, which might sound small to serve. In my short time at the Regency, I've said goodbye to about 35 people. Sometimes their stay is only a year or two. Like someone was saying, you don't know what you're going to be handed health-wise. And so we're having to say goodbye to seniors quite frequently, and a lot of them are not able to find care, a little more care in Laramie. This is a housing project for Laramie, and I know that that is a need here. This is a housing project for seniors. This is a respectful housing project to make sure that we can keep our seniors here. 30 years ago, a couple of groups and some individuals decided, well, next year it'll be 30 years, that there needed to be something here for seniors. In that dream, they already had architect plans for assisted living. That never happened because of their budget. So they did the independent living, but they had the foresight to see that that was needed and to keep the seniors together in a graduated care facility. When I've said goodbye to about 35 people, only a few stayed in Laramie. They had to go elsewhere. There isn't a lot here, and it's not affordable. We are affordable. You have a for-profit assisted living here. And I don't know if any of you in this room have loved ones that need just a little more care for daily activity, but be prepared. It's expensive if you are a for-profit. We've done some marketing, we've done some business plans. We don't plan on profiting off of seniors like other people. We're able to provide the same amount of care at less than half the cost of the facility currently operating in Laramie. We used your money last year to help us provide a building plan, and we got pretty far with it. We also looked into the fun idea of that ever dead-ended, underdeveloped Sheridan Street, and have come up with some pretty cool ideas for a connection to the Greenbelt. I heard earlier that why is the Epson Center's meals so high? And I don't think Tammy gave us a complete answer, because I firmly believe with the fastest growing population in Wyoming being seniors, we have to step it up. We need more housing. We want this to be a comfortable place for our seniors to reside. We have a solid business plan. We have a solid building plan. We have very diverse and strategic funding. We're asking for your support to help us kick off our capital campaign with our marketing materials so that we can get out there and attract the right kind of funders. We've gotten very creative. We will continue to be creative in how we will operate this to keep it affordable for seniors. So as we ask for your continued support for a better tomorrow for Laramie seniors, who some will most likely be in this room needing this place to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Questions? Seeing none, thank you so much for your presentation. Next is Robbie's House, and I welcome Oscar Lilly, and is Julie here? Julie Flint? There you are. Welcome, both of you. Good to see you.
Good to see you all, council members and county commissioners. So we are with Robbie's House. We're both directors at Wyoming, or Laramie's own mental health clubhouse. We're one of 2 mental health clubhouses in the state of Wyoming, and we truly believe it is a model that we should be spreading throughout Wyoming, not only for what it can do for people that most need that support with mental illness, but also to curb the overwhelming costs and the use of facilities that we have in Wyoming that's constantly under strain. And so that's why we're here for our 3rd year of seeking support from the city and county. Next slide, please. So a little bit about our model. We don't really consider ourselves providing a service. Rather, we are providing a community that serves itself. So we are member run. We are only as good as the members are engaged in what we do. We are not seeking to bring members in out of the cold and say, you sit down, here's a cup of coffee, let us make you feel good. We are saying we are here to be your partner in not only having a place to feel safe, but having a launching pad to grow as an individual and as a community. So that's what our model is, and that's what we're following now. And we are working towards accreditation next year so we can enter the Medicaid portal and get involved with that as well. Next slide, please. So a little bit about our wellness activities before we go into the focus of our community partner funding historically. We are actually building a greenhouse next month, and so we're adding gardening to our wellness activities. And then we have a ceramics program, and we've also ventured into 2D art, and that is something that anyone who's affected by mental illness, we encourage to come to the clubhouse, or if you have a loved one or someone you know that is impacted by mental illness, even if it's as a caregiver, that we'd encourage you all to come see us. And beyond our art program, we have our communal meals, and then our writing group. Next slide, please. So go ahead, Julie.
Okay. So part of our funding would be going towards our meal program. So every day we serve, Monday through Friday, we serve meals for $2, all organic. We will be growing most of our food this summer, hopefully. They're cost affordable. We plan and prepare the meals, all the members do. Over 1,500 meals we served last year. Dozens of lunch and learns, so we try to incorporate the rest of the community. We have lunch and learns with many of the places that have talked here today. Trying to deepen the network of public, private, and nonprofit partners. The average wellness survey that we have conducted, which is astonishing, is after 6 months is a 20% wellness increase through our own surveys.
That's all we have. I shortened it up because last year I got through my second slide and then I heard the chirping noise, and I also swore and I didn't mean to, so I apologize for that. So I think we did really well today. So no questions. No questions.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. If anyone has questions, please.
I think you did great. Are there any questions? Seeing none.
Thank you much.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Next, we have Safe House and Amy Hafner. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you. Good evening. My name's Amy Hafner. I'm the Executive Director of SAFE Project. I've been part of the organization for 7 years, and I've been in the director role for 2 years. So for those of you who may not know, SAFE Project is the Domestic Violence Sexual Assault Stalking Program in Albany County. SAFE has been providing free and confidential services since the 1980s. Domestic violence and sexual assault encompasses a range of issues, including family violence, intimate partner violence, child abuse, and elder abuse. Additionally, sexual assault includes cases of human trafficking. So I've provided a short video to give you a little glimpse of what we do at SAFE Project and how we support survivors in the community, but I think I'm going to wait till the end just to ensure that we have time. Over the past year, we've seen an increase in the need for our shelter services. We've sheltered 35 adults, 20 kids, and 9 pets. The rising cost of living has impacted us as it has impacted many here. The housing market in Laramie is unaffordable for many, and groceries have become significantly more expensive. These economic challenges present barriers as we work to help our clients transition out of shelter into their own homes. The national average stay in a domestic violence shelter is 6 weeks, while ours is 8 weeks, and in several cases, we've had to extend past the 8 weeks. The goal of our shelter is to support survivors in their healing journey and help them become sustainable in a safe environment. Clients meet weekly with an advocate to ensure they're making progress towards their goals. During their time in shelter, SAFE Project provides all groceries and toiletries. However, as the number of clients has increased, so have these expenses. The funding from the city and county will help us sustain our shelter, our office operations, and financial assistance for our clients, as well as support the time our advocates dedicate to working with survivors. And then before we do the video, I just wanted to share some words from one of our survivors who is anonymous. I had no one that I could turn to in my situation. Those that claimed they would help fell by the wayside once I reached out. I had nowhere to go and no one to turn to. The only choice I had was SAFE Project. Because of them, I am no longer in the abusive situation I was in for several years. SAFE Project staff understood the seriousness of my situation and provided the guidance needed to ensure my safety. They had been an advocate every step of the way, and I truly believe that I would not be here today if it were not for them. I in no way make such statements loosely. The threat to my safety was very real, as was the assistance provided to remove me from that situation. I lost everything I had, with the exception of the clothes I was wearing at the time and a few personal belongings that were returned to me with the help from SAFE staff coordinating with local law enforcement. It will take me years to rebuild my life. What was gained, though, is this. I now have the chance to live a life free from the abuse I suffered. I knew the losses that would come, and that the staff at SAFE made no outlandish promises to me. What they did promise is this: we will do everything we can to make sure you are safe and that you will not have to face this alone, and they have kept that promise. So I think we have time for the video. 140? Yes, I think it's 120. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions? Amy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate your presentation. Next, Telehope, Ralph Fawaz. Good evening, Ralph. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here and giving me the opportunity to share Telehope. So we haven't been around nearly as long as everybody else in this room. We've only been around for 2 years and a few months. And originally, Telehope started off as a student-athlete partnership program. Having been on the football team, that's a big statement. I punted, so I was played a little bit of football. I participated. Having been on the football team, you look around the locker room, and you realize sometimes there's a lack of hope in these guys. You know, and growing up, coming to play Division I football, people would look at you and think you're something special. Truth is, we're not, especially if you're a punter. And so what I wanted to do is show kids throughout the community, especially the younger ages in high school, that these people that you look up to aren't that special. They worked hard and they're just like you and they came from the same background as you did. And to show some of our student athletes, look, you're worth more than your jersey. And so when we ran that, we've ran it for 2 years. And our partnerships went great. We had 45 kids in with Telehope, and the biggest thing that we realized was what is really creating and generating this hope? It's the kids when they started meeting each other through Telehope and realizing, hey, you're just like me. I don't talk to you at school. Why not? You're just like me. And so now we've completely restructured into teaching 40-minute workshops across Wyoming on what does it look like to be a good friend. And we were looking at the statistics. We've partnered up with Anschutz Medical Center to dive into some of this research and statistics. 1 in 15 high school students attempt suicide. What is the reason for suicide? As we all know in Wyoming, it is a big issue. How can we stop this? Loneliness and isolation is one of the #1 reasons for ages 10 to 24. And so we take this deeply, and we took everything that we learned from doing our nonprofit for 2 years into let's teach these kids what it looks like to be there for each other in the simplest ways. You know, let's make it easier to walk into a counselor's office together if need be. And if not, how can we learn to understand each other and be there for each other and recognize what these bad Tuesdays look like? And so we haven't, no one, a part of the staff takes any compensation. We've been operating off of personal funding, personal contacts that we know. We've done competitions and just sold some merchandise. And that's how we've stayed funded. And so all of our money tends to go to all the kids. We try and make these experiences as fun as possible. We do our workshops and partnerships through Anschutz, with Anschutz, but we are only focused on Wyoming as of right now. And we want to expand in these rural communities, especially in these rural communities where there are high suicide rates, where they're not reached, and where people have, we have this saying, it's called cowboys ride together. We understand that in Wyoming, we're tough cowboys, okay? But only in movies you see a cowboy ride alone. You know, historically, cowboys are always riding together. And this is the image that we want to show to the Wyoming families and to these kids. Hey, you don't have to do it alone. You can do it together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ralph. Are there any questions? Vice Mayor Richardson.
Thank you. So in reading your application, it sounded like these, the workshops are in person, but then did you also say that you have some that are online as well? Did I catch that?
Yes, so
Okay.
we are transitioning into a few where we are trying to get it online to places, you know, if it's snowing or whatnot, we'll do it online. But mostly we want it all in person, and we have our workshops be interactive so these kids can build the confidence within each other to then go out and reach out and have these easy conversations.
Great, thanks for clarifying that. Appreciate it.
I don't see any other. Thank you very much, Ralph.
Thank
We
you, guys.
appreciate it. Next, Unaccompanied Student Initiative, and Julie Fogg and Aaron Brossard.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak before you this evening. My name is Julie Fogg. I'm the Network Director for Unaccompanied Students Initiative. I'm going to share with you a little bit about our organization as we are very new in Laramie, and Aaron is going to tell you a little bit more about our last year, what we used funding for, and what we're looking for in the next year. Next slide, please. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. We began in Cheyenne in 2018, and our mission is to provide a safe and stable home for youth experiencing homelessness and to develop that sustainable independence. Our vision is to break that cycle of intergenerational homelessness, and through that we provide different programs and support systems for the youth that are in our program. Next slide, please. Our areas of operation, we began in Cheyenne and we expanded to Casper in 2020. And in Cheyenne and Casper, we have room for 12 and 14 youth between those two, each of those. And then in Laramie, we can provide housing for 4. Our hope is that we're able to build a home, but right now we are renting a facility so that we can house those 4 youth. Next slide, please. And what we do is offer comprehensive and person-centered programming. We have a case manager specific and other staff that help support them in all of their needs. And so depending on how a youth might come to us, they may have some support, they may need an ID. Our focus is on education, so that primary goal is to be, if they're not enrolled in school, that we get them connected into the most appropriate school setting. Our ideal goal is that they are enrolled in Albany County School District. Sometimes they are so behind on credits that we have to look for alternatives, but our goal is for them to get their education. And then with that, we develop programming. And so it's very tailored for them, although we do have house programming as well. They utilize classes with sensible nutrition, with financial literacy, healthy relationships. And really our goal is once they exit our program that they have all of those life skills. They learn how to do laundry, have cook nights, all of those things so that they're able to be independent and they're able to give back to the community. Next slide, please. And really again, this is the same of our focus of how we are making a difference in the lives of these youth, that we are focusing on education. We are not just a shelter, we are a program. And so that is the difference, in that they are agreeing to being a part of that program. And with that, we work in just all of those capacities to make sure that they're meeting all of their goals and they're ready to be independent. Next slide. Here are a couple of testimonials. There's some students that we've had that have not even had their own beds, and they each have their own room when they come to us, their own bed, they get a startup kit, and so we are able to shift the mindsets and behaviors so that they can change their own circumstances. And we have 24/7 staff support. So the second testimonial you can read there is a student talking about just those supports that she had received from staff, and it's really so important, and the connections that they receive amongst their staff. We work a lot on building community within the house as well, and they have, I believe this month, our Laramie house is doing 80s movie nights on Thursdays. So even little things, big things, all those things make a difference in learning how to develop a community and be a part of a home. Next slide. And so at this, I'm going to let Erin speak a little bit more about Laramie.
Yeah, so as Julie said, we are fairly new to Laramie. We officially opened our doors in November of 2023. We received our first placement in February of 2024, and in 2024, we were able to house and serve 9 students in Laramie. And just to give you some of the specifics on the numbers, it's about $94 a day, which works out to about $34,000 annually to support a single student in our program. And this allows us to offer those vital services that Julie talked about, some of which are meals. We offered 17,916 meals individually to students in 2024. And transportation, we were able to provide vital transportation to school, work, doctor's appointments, counseling appointments. We made 2,713 trips with our youth. And what I would like to end on is that in 2024, we had 5 high school graduates, and we're anticipating across all our 3 locations that that's going to double, more than double this year in May. And 2 of those graduates are here in Laramie. We're really excited to celebrate their success in May. And that's really the heart of our program is getting our students to high school graduation, giving them those skills so that they can move on to whatever's next for them. And funding from the city of Laramie will really help us do that. So thank you for the opportunity to speak today.
Thank you, Julie and Erin. Questions? Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. Next, United Way of Albany County, Anna Kramer. Welcome, Anna.
Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Anna Kramer. I am the Executive Director for Albany County, United Way of Albany County. We serve and partner with 16 local organizations, and we campaign for those organizations each fall. But what some people don't know is that we also have a program called VITA. It is a free tax preparation program, and we have been hosting it for many years. It started many years ago at the library, and it has been absorbed by United Way in the early 2010s. One of our board members has been around helping make sure that this program is successful since about 2013. So it requires a lot of collaboration. For several years now, for the last several years, we've worked with the College of Business, the Accounting and Finance Department at the University of Wyoming. And the department collects the students that want to volunteer for this. They train the student volunteers, and then we hold clinics. And so the team of at the College of Business will review all of the student works, so they submit the actual returns. So the students do a lot of the hands-on work, but the professionals actually submit the filing of the returns. I lost my place, sorry. So we work closely with the College of Business. My team will help facilitate getting the venue and scheduling the appointments for people. They call our office and schedule appointments. And basically just all the logistics of doing that. So each year there are 15 to 20 clinics that run February to April. Each clinic is about 4 hours long. And the students, there are 7 tables, there's 1 or 2 students at each table, and the students are able to get real-time experience with real people, their actual tax issues, real situations, so they also get class credit for this, which is kind of a cool deal. So they spend a lot of time at these clinics. It's a lot of great experience for them. Last year, there were 575 returns filed for Albany County residents, completely free of charge. So this adds up to more than $120,000 of savings in accounting fees. And then as most of the residents who take advantage of this program are in the low to moderate income category, those dollars really add up quickly, and they can spend those on basic needs and things, childcare, rent, mortgages, things like that. So this program follows all the rules and guidelines from the IRS. They keep pretty close tabs on us. It does give real experience to more than 20 students every spring that we hold it at the University of Wyoming. And it also supports other nonprofits in our areas when we rent the venue and things. But it also helps, the biggest benefit is that it helps ease a costly annual financial obligation for many of our friends and neighbors. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Anna. Are there any questions for Anna? Thank you very much for your presentation. We appreciate it. Next, Volunteers of America, and Dave Shumway.
Dave Shumway. Guys, congratulations. You are 2/3 of the way done. You can take a break. As we had Dr. Kristen Cavella here for a joint session a month ago, I'm going to keep it fairly short because she went very in-depth for you guys. We're really grateful for your support and the partnership and hope to continue it. VOA served 10,000 people across Wyoming, Montana, western South Dakota last year, 280,000 days of service across the region. Here in Laramie, we served 500 unique individuals. That's through our mental health outpatient clinic. That's through our SMI housing, that's seriously mental ill housing. That's through our Veterans Rapid Rehousing and Homeless Prevention Program, and the really cool Albany Care Team that you guys are a part of, the police department's a part of, the university's a part of, and you have known Pete for years and years, and I think you've come to know Volunteers of America pretty well in the last 4 years since we merged. We really have a heart for stepping into a community and finding where the needs are and serving where that need is. Obviously, as the largest behavioral health and mental health provider in the state of Wyoming, we are really proud to be in Laramie and to be offering those services here. We know that they provide huge savings for the community, for the hospitals, for the police department, for so many other things. And we're just really honored to serve. We do about $2 million annually in services in this community, and our revenue streams don't equal $2 million. And so that's why we work on fundraising with individuals and grant requests like this one for both the city and the county to try to make up some of those losses. But we are committed to being here and serving well in this community. I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Dave. Are there any questions? Thank you very much for your presentation. Next, Common Outdoor Ground and Nicole Foss. Welcome, Nicole.
Thanks. Happy to speak to you all today. Several of you saw our Albany County Rec Board presentation recently, so I'm going to try not to cover too much of this same ground. And there's pictures this time. So I represent Common Outdoor Ground. I'm the director and also the only full-time person at the agency, so we're definitely pretty small and nimble. And next slide, please. So we provide community support for the sustainability of outdoor spaces in Southeast Wyoming. So that means that we serve Carbon County, Albany County, and Laramie County. I will admit that most of our projects take place in Albany County. But if anybody has any leads on projects in those other counties, send them our way. We focus on outdoor public spaces. So a lot of partnering with land managers such as the BLM or the Forest Service or anybody else who manages public land. And we have done a lot of work on public land education and increasing culture of land stewardship, because public land is land that we all own together. This photo is from our tree planting activity last September in West Laramie, where we were able to plant 10 trees for free for homeowners in West Laramie, and we're hoping to do it again this year. Next slide. So for 2024, we worked with 306 volunteers to donate over 1,800 volunteer hours to public land. So that labor is valued at over $57,000. If you had to pay somebody to do the work that we do, the public land managers probably couldn't afford it. So I'm happy that we can help donate that labor. We did 32 volunteer days and then 2 seasons of our new project, Albany County Outdoor School. Next slide. So we have some of our K-12 programs pictured here. Up at the top left is the pollinator party that we did with state parks in Washington Park. And then the other 3 pictures are of our Albany County Outdoor School, where we partnered with local elementary schools to do a day of science programming and a day of outdoor recreation responsibility programming. And we took 4th graders out to the snowies. This day was in LaPrelle because we didn't have buses to transport on that day, but they had a phenomenal time. Next slide. So yeah, project examples, we do a lot of cleanups. We do projects that are geared towards wildlife safety, so removing barbed wire fencing when it's no longer required. This year we are going to be doing some cabin renovations for the Forest Service. Those projects are expensive and the funding is tricky. Forest Service, we'll get to it later. So we generally develop that culture of land stewardship, connect people to their public lands, and increase access to recreation. Thank you. So here are some of our bread and butter projects. We've got a project on Pilot Hill, project at Optimist Park, campground decommissioning with JD and the tractor and Emily on the mini skid steer, and then painting out at the territorial prison. Next slide. So we work with tons of partners. It is our goal to have a partner for every single event that we put on, and I think we meet and exceed that goal. I do want to say some of our core partners, some of our long-term partners are experiencing pretty extreme budget cuts, staff shortages, and hiring freezes. And so they need a lot of help, and they don't have any money for us. We are definitely still going to help them, but it puts us in a little bit of a pickle. Next slide. So outdoor recreation accounts for around 4.1% of Wyoming's GDP. It is, by some accounts, the second biggest industry in Wyoming, and our volunteers help make that recreation infrastructure possible. Albany County had over 1 million visitors in 2023, many of whom came here for our outdoor recreation spaces. Like I said, our volunteers are there to help make that possible. So our funding request is sort of proportionate to our work plans for one event every week of our season, which lasts as long as people would like to be working outside. And that's it. Any questions?
Thank you, Nicole. Are there any questions? Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Next, Laramie Plains Civic Center, Jessica Brower. Welcome, Jessica.
All right, good evening, counselors and commissioners. My name is Jessica Brower. I'm the executive director of the Laramie Plains Civic Center. Thank you for your time tonight. I know these evenings go quite late, so I will promise to keep this as brief as possible and stick to my script. Many of you in this room, really, are keenly aware of the unique challenges that our old building presents. Whether that's in the small bathroom stalls, the contentious arrangement with the pigeons, or the dire need for infrastructure upgrades. Yet, against all odds, we're still here. And I'm here to ask you for your continued investment in this essential community space, one that contributes significantly to Laramie's cultural and economic vitality. We're home to over 90 tenants, including artists, nonprofits, and small businesses, and maintain full occupancy with a wait list of over 100 individuals and growing, even today. The Civic Center provides affordable studios, offices, and gathering spaces, free and low-cost fitness and recreation opportunities, access to critical social services from victim advocacy and legal support to addiction recovery, childcare, and mental health counseling, as well as arts and cultural programming that attracts thousands of attendees annually and fuels our local economy. I believe our impact is undeniable, and we do that by making every dollar count. We leverage each dollar you pledge to secure grants, sponsorships, and our donor support to maximize impact. This year alone, we've secured over $30,000 in public donations and a $200,000 legacy gift to replace a defunct boiler, a system that was last upgraded when our building was still publicly owned and government operated. Investing in the Civic Center isn't just about preserving history. It's about fueling Laramie's future. The arts and culture sector generates over $870 million annually in Wyoming, and every $1 invested returns in $5 to $10 into the local economy. Our building alone contributes to an estimated 200 direct jobs and supports hundreds more indirectly through tourism, local business spending, and entrepreneurial growth. Events at the Griffin Theater, Gorgon Gallery, Siren Studios, and our performance spaces don't just entertain. They drive businesses to restaurants, hotels, and shops, strengthening Laramie's economy. Think of every time you've purchased a concert ticket, whether here or out of town, likely. You likely also bought dinner, an Uber ride, a hotel room, a tank of gas, a babysitter, or at the very least, an overpriced beer. And because I know that I will be back here asking you counselors for a liquor license soon, I would be remiss if I didn't say that the Griffin Theater charges half the price for that Coors Light, as well as the event tickets, to our neighboring Front Range venues. So we're supporting the Laramie economy and your wallets. Perhaps most importantly, at least to me, the Civic Center is a place where the community comes together, whether for performances, meetings, or civic engagement. Just last week, we hosted an estimated 700 attendees for a town hall with Representative Hageman, demonstrating how public space fosters dialogue and participation. Maybe you saw us on the news. Recently, I was made aware that some question the presence of pride flags in our building and by extension, the integrity of our public service. And the Civic Center serves a diverse population. It always has and will continue, including LGBTQ+ individuals and organizations, alongside people from all political, religious, and social backgrounds. These flags symbolize our commitment to inclusivity and belonging for all. We respect differing viewpoints, but we will not make decisions that marginalize any part of our community. At our core, we believe in human dignity, inclusion, and equal access to space. And we have a lot of space. And our neighborhood shares that. Just this weekend, actually, vandalism to the buildings, signage, and some tenant property was cleaned up, mended, rehung by tenants, all who volunteered their time to take action before they even called me to tell me what happened. Art and culture spaces have historically always been places of expression, inclusivity, and belonging. Our Civic Center is no different today. We are committed to being a space where people feel welcome and represented. As one gallery attendee recently told me, the Civic Center is like the living room of Laramie. Your support ensures we continue to be that gathering space, a hub for connection, creativity, and growth. I respectfully ask for your continued investment tonight to sustain this vital work for the year ahead. Thank you for your time this evening, and I welcome any questions.
Thank you, Jessica. Perfect timing. Are there any questions? Yes, Commissioner Huff.
This is more for my curiosity. I know Abundance moved out, and I haven't been in that center hallway since. What has moved back in?
Yes, so we have filled all the spaces except for one, and we have held on to that one space because we have plans to use it as a community space. But that includes really tenants from across the board. We have nonprofit organizations. We have another daycare provider who has moved in and continues to offer childcare for young families. Parents as Teachers, which is a nonprofit supporting empowering parents with skills to raise their young ones. Laramie Public Art Coalition now has their office in there where they host a lot of their workshops. I'm sure you're going to hear a little bit about that. United Way moved down there. We have another artist's workshop space called Jackrabbit Workshop. I know I'm forgetting. Alliance for Historic Wyoming is there. Yes, Sunshine. The coffee shop has the kitchen in there. Yes, so it is.
I'm just curious. I haven't been through.
Yeah, it is not empty.
Thank you, Jessica. Any other questions? Thank you for your presentation. Next, Laramie Project Graduation. Stacy Frood. Welcome, Stacy.
Thank you. This has been great. I've really enjoyed my time here. It's the first time I've been here to present, and I might attend every year just because it's been so cool to hear about so many awesome organizations. Lots of overlap. And so I am representing Laramie High School Project Graduation, which has been since 1984. Parents of graduating seniors in Albany County have come together to provide an after-graduation celebration for all ACSD1 graduates. That's from Laramie High School, Whiting, or Rock River, and to provide a safe drug and alcohol-free event that is fun, lots of food, prizes, an alternative to less healthy options post-graduation. And so this has been a long-standing tradition and something that has been fruitful, I would say, to our community in ways that we have not even been able to fully measure. But it's something that we are we're planning for this year after graduation on Friday, May 30th. This is optional for seniors. It is not required, but it is something that we try to provide an enticing option for them. And so we have like I said, lots of free food, entertainment, prizes. We have been purchasing prizes, MacBooks, AirPods, all kinds of different prizes to entice Gen Z to come to this event. But because it's free to the students, obviously there is still a significant cost to the event, and so that has been provided by individuals and businesses, and in the past, the city and the county have been wonderful partners. We are very thankful for how you all have supported that in the past, and it's something we hope you continue to do. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun to be a part of the committee this year, and we are still in the process of raising funds, not only for this year, but also to provide a base for next year. And that's coming in this year. We began planning in November and had to secure facilities, not only costs for the event, but also security, post office box, a storage unit, other costs to help support this project. And so we were thankful that there were funds coming in before we began the fundraising process, and that's part of what these requested funds will be for next year, helping provide that base for next year's project graduation committee. So.
Okay, thank you, Stacy. Any questions? Thank you for your presentation. Much appreciated. Next, is that this online, this one? Laramie Public Art Coalition, and Katie Christensen.
I'm here.
You're here. Okay, good. Welcome, Katie.
Thank you so much, council members and commissioners. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. I'm actually a volunteer co-chair for the Laramie Public Art Coalition. Some of you may know Laura McDermott took another position. We were sad to see her go, and we're in the process of hiring for that position. So I'm here representing the board. Laramie Public Art Coalition has been around for about 10 years, and we've experienced some really tremendous growth. Our mission is to cultivate joy, belonging, and curiosity through public art. We're here to ask funds to match 3 large projects that already have grant funding. The first one, you can go ahead and do the next slide if you wouldn't mind, is the 3rd Street Gateway project. Many of you have already seen the construction that's happening on 3rd Street. This has been a project about 10 years in the making, and public art has kind of been involved in that process from the whole. It's about a $300,000 project that will have art on both ends of 3rd Street. We had over 200 people from across the country apply to this call, which is really exciting. There is a group of community members narrowing that down right now. And so that's one of the projects that I'm here to request partnership funds for. Next slide, please. I will say that the community partner funding helps us to engage the community in that process. We've already done a lot of community gathering sessions to hear about what kind of art that people want in those gateway processes. Next slide. Thank you. The next project is the Optimist Park Art Shed. How many people have visited the art shed? Awesome, it's good to see some of you. So this project was actually built through Albany County Rec Board grants and is managed by our community engagement manager with, Wyoming Cultural Trust Fund support. And so with this project, we do a lot of community workshops. The shed is semi-permanently installed there, but we utilize and pay local artists to teach free workshops to the community. Most of those are drop-in activities throughout the summer. Anything from copper etching to sewing to all sorts of different types of engagement. And the beautiful thing, you can meet all sorts of people in these workshops, and people you didn't know were your neighbors in our community. So this is a great space to have engagement that's led by local artists. Next one. Here's some photos of last summer of the art shed in action. You can see all ages of all types of people engaging in the practice. Next slide. The funding will help more artists be paid in our community. Last year, we were proud to spend over $130,000 paying artists. There were 67 artists that received those funds. 59 of them were from Albany County and Laramie alone. So a lot of that goes back into our local economy and helping support folks right here who are artists. So next one. The third project we're requesting funds for is the High Iron Project. Show of hands of folks who have visited this project. A few of you, awesome. So if you don't know, High Iron is a traveling public art and oral history project that unearths hidden stories of immigrant rail labor through personal stories gathered from descendants of rail labor in our community, as well as artwork that focuses on the history of the Transcontinental Railroad. And I'll just point out that Melanie Vihill's family has some great stories in there. She's participated in this project. So this is, right now, the rail car itself, if you've seen it, is on North 4th on city property. It's shuttered, but as we're getting into warmer weather, we're planning some engagement, and I hope that you all come and visit this project because it's really an interactive piece of public art that will be here in Laramie and then travel on across the railroad lines. Pretty exciting parts. But all of these projects match with the City of Laramie's resolutions and Albany County's comprehensive plans, and we've really worked hard to partner with all sorts of people to make sure they're in line with the goals of your bodies as well as members of our community. So I think there might be a few more slides. This is the High Iron team. It's a local and international team of artists that were paid for their labor, but also unearthing lots of stories about the people who made our community that often don't get recognized. Next slide. And there's the rail car itself. So if you've seen it, it's a really wonderful piece of engaged public art.
Thank you, Katie.
Yeah, any questions? Thank you so much for your time.
Questions for Katie? Okay, thank you very much. Next, the Laramie Railroad Depot Association, Joseph Cook. Welcome, Joseph.
Good evening. I'm one of the board members at the Laramie Railroad Depot Association, and the short statement is that our request is for $5,000 from the city and $5,000 from the county, which would go towards improving the museum displays and protecting the artifacts that we house within the museum. And I'd first like to just go through how our year 2024 went for the depot. Just wait for that slide to pop up so you can see it. And we got several new board members in 2024. That's allowed some of our long-term volunteers to take a step back and get a break from leadership. But we are always looking for volunteers, and so if you know of anyone who would be interested in helping at the depot, we're always interested in the extra help. There were several successful public events in 2024. The open house for our 100th anniversary of the building, the Christmas train lighting, the museum Mondays and Fridays during the farmers market. So that's when the museum is open to the public with a volunteer on hand. In all, the building was rented out for 121 days of the year for many public and private events hosted by both private individuals and public entities, and a lot of non-profit usage as well. And rentals remain the main source of income for the depot. But rentals are plateauing with the increased cost of living and the end of the post-COVID event backlog, which took a couple of years to move through the rental space. So it's in view of this that the funding request is for improving the displays within the museum. Our curator, Richard Hook, has put together a remarkable collection which continues to grow year on year, with many of the items being directly tied to specific Laramie Railroad events. For example, a lantern that was used to flag down a train and avoid an accident, cool artifacts like that. The current display cabinets and cases, though, that house the collections have generally been scrounged, donated, or purchased secondhand due to a lack of funding at the time. And so it's really been a case of developing the artifacts and getting them inside the depot. And we'd like to try and take the opportunity to build out the display so that it has a more uniform look and helps with three main things within the museum: protecting and preserving the artifacts, improving interpretation for visitors, and allow really the discovery of some of the unique stories that sometimes otherwise aren't shared if the volunteers aren't there on hand to tell them. And beyond that, there is also a financial goal. As the museum has been open more frequently on Mondays and Fridays, we have seen increases in gift shop sales and donations from the foot traffic. And we hope that by improving the displays within the museum, if we can improve visitor satisfaction and visitation rates, this may lead to increased donations and sales, going beyond also the artifacts, but also helping with the financial needs of the depot to remain open to the public. To fully fund the project, we then leverage the requested funds from the city and county for both a private donor drive and a full application to the Wyoming Cultural Trust Fund. And so with that, if we can just go to the last slide. I want to make the most of this opportunity to invite you to the 1920s Gala organized by Leadership Laramie, which is in support of repainting the snow train in Depot Park. And that will be on April 26th at 5 p.m. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Joseph. Are there any questions? Any questions? Commissioner Jones.
Can you tell me how many people the railroad depot has served? How many people have been through there this year?
We do not have great tracking on the numbers, and so that was part of our request, the last community partner grant, and that will be going in this spring, where we'll have foot traffic counters on the two main doorways, so we'll have numbers going in and out. But on average, I think during the summer, there's 5 to 10 visitors on a Monday, but then that obviously tails during the colder months when we have a lot less visitors. But then of the 121 days, most events have 30 to 100 people, depending on the exact nature.
Right, that's why it'd be really interesting to know. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. Next, the Lincoln Community Center. And I have Mary Cisneros, Gwendolyn Christie, and Siobhan Kelly. But only Siobhan coming up.
But we're here.
Okay. Welcome, Siobhan.
Thank you. I feel like after every presentation, I just want to clap. It's an honor to be here, and I know that you want to give money to everyone who is providing such great work in our community. Honorable Mayor, City Councilors, and County Commissioners, I'm here tonight asking for $32,000 plus for the Lincoln Community Center. As you know, we are a historic school. We celebrated our 100th anniversary of the original Lincoln School this year. We have been a community center since 2012. We remain very much a grassroots, community-led organization. And in 2024, we served approximately 32,000 people. And this number includes our anchor tenants. And that's Head Start, the Archery Club, and the Reformed Presbyterian Church. You heard tonight about the United Way Community Tax Preparation Program. That has been going on at the Lincoln Community Center. We also have a Parkinson's group who meets weekly at the center. We work closely with our users to ensure that everyone can afford the space that we provide. So when you think, for example, of the tax program, we provided our gymnasium space at, I think, approximately half of our usual rate because it was important to us to serve the community that way. So what we do spreads out throughout the community. The Parkinson's group, we provide our space to them free of charge. And next month, they're going to be holding a ball, a gala, to raise money that they want to give back to the Lincoln Community Center. That's how much they appreciate a safe and accessible space for people with Parkinson's and the people who love them. So what we are asking for in our grant has to do with safety and being able to serve the community safely and to keep our building safe. And by that I mean well cared for. So I'd like to tell you some of the main things we're looking for, and I'll start with the irrigation system. We were so proud. I cannot tell you how proud we have been of the beautiful Lincoln Community Grounds. I will tell you that when that system went in, our construction manager did not choose the lowest bidder, but instead chose an Albany County company. That company is no longer in Albany County, and what we have experienced is that that system was not installed to industry standards, and they used a kind of pipe, class 200, if you care, that breaks in the freezing weather, and we would like to replace that with Schedule 40 pipe and redo the grounds, not completely, but what we can. Likewise, when I talk about safety, we're asking for help to care for our trees. We house Head Start. We have people in the neighborhood, people for our events. Taking care of our trees, we recognize, is a very, very important part of what we need to do. We are also asking for improvements to our building to include painting, and that would be painting of all of the windows. And we're also looking to replace gutters. Like the irrigation system, this was something that has never been correct for the school.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your presentation. Are there any questions? I have one question. On the application, the grant request amount, there must be a typo or something. I have you asking for $106,913.50. So I was rather shocked by the amount, but I think you stated $32,000?
What we are asking for $213,827. $213,000.
Oh, so you are asking for that? Okay.
We indeed are.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I do have a question.
Commissioner Huff.
So ongoing fundraising, is that occurring? Or a follow-up question would be, is your tenant usage not enough to offset the maintenance cost on an ongoing basis?
Our tenant income is not enough to offset major capital expenses. And I have to be very honest with you, we are not doing active fundraising. And that goes back to being very much a grassroots effort. We are going to jobs, and we are dedicating ourselves to running the Lincoln Community Center and keeping it operational. And we too had to replace hot water heaters and other major expenses this year.
Are there any, yes, Councilor Newman?
I just want to make sure that none of this number will be, none that you're requesting will be used for grants or anything, correct?
It is all straight capital expense. So we opened our doors in 2012, and we have received community partners funding, I believe, once since that time.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Richardson.
Thank you for the presentation. Appreciate it. I know that it's just such a gem of the community. One thing I do have a question for you is there or are there any plans to start creating some sort of a fund so that as you move forward to start to account for these things and be able to kind of maybe pick them off one by one instead of one chunk of something where everything's kind of coming at once? Has that been considered at all?
I think that is such a good question, and I think you would be remiss not to ask. Yes, we are essentially reorganizing this year. Our board was down to one person and our director. And so we have had difficulty sustaining through that time. And now we are really gearing up. We are looking at the business side of our operation. We are meeting, we met last night. We were still in a meeting this time last night with UW Extension about increasing our capacity. So yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation. Next is Pilot Hill, Sarah Brown Matthews. Welcome, Sarah.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, and City Council members. I know you're all familiar with the Pilot Hill project. I'm here, though, tonight to also ask for a challenging problem. I think all of our organizations are coming to you with really interesting needs that we really appreciate your thoughtful consideration for. So as you know, the Pilot Hill area is really undergoing some major transition, and we've invested a lot of money in the property already, over $5 million basically investments in our community, in our trail systems, and in this outdoor recreation area. And this summer, of course, the biggest project is our trailhead project. I'm not here to ask for more support for that. You've already been very generous with that, so thank you. If you want to move to the next slide. I was giving a presentation earlier this week, and one of the questions that came to me was, why does it cost you $200,000 every year to run this place? And I didn't have a really good answer for that, other than the fact that I kept thinking, well, every time I get up there, I'm lost. It's big. You know, I finally said, okay, you know, why, how do I wrap my head around this? And basically, our 11 square miles is a little over half the size of what the city of Laramie is. And same thing with Centennial. It's just a lot of land. And because of that, it's an expensive endeavor. I'm here this evening, if you want to go to the next slide, to really just talk about this property and the value that it brings to the community and the I think the economic impact that it's going to have as we continue to move forward with it. It really is a year-round resource for us that we anticipate will bring at least 45,000 tourists to the community every year and generate about $5 million in additional revenue for the city and the county and boost our local businesses and economy. I already have 3 brand new events on our roster for this summer that are going to bring additional people in to enjoy the recreation area. We have a bike shop in town that has started up that's trying to also offer shuttle services in town. It's just really starting to be an entity that is beginning to show the impact that it can have on the community. As I come to you tonight, though, what I'm really asking for is support just for the operating expenses. Our lease this year is $42,000. That's for the land that the state of Wyoming leases to Albany County for this property. Our insurance costs are $30,000. The remaining $110,000 or so, $120,000 just is basically in maintenance and upkeep. We empty a lot of trash cans. We're the lovely recipient of all the the plastic bags that blow from Walmart's parking lot to the west. We are the lovely recipients of a lot of lunch sacks from the high school students that get out of school and come down and leave their trash behind. We have maintenance of the property itself to make sure that we're not impacting the water systems and causing erosion on the property. And as you can see on the picture on the right, we also sometimes need to work with partners like COG to clean up vandalism that occurs on the property. We also are hoping to be able to be more proactive in investing things, projects on the property like water capture systems for the wildlife, looking at some areas where there's historic drainage issues, and building Z-dikes and other natural structures to make sure that we're being the best stewards we can of this property that belongs to our entire community. Going on to the next one, of course, the biggest thing we like to point to is the fact that we really support the health and well-being of our entire community. We have over 150,000 visits to the property annually, and that's every age, every socioeconomic class. It's people of all means. We're absolutely free, and we, as we look at community members that are struggling with budgets, we are a free space for them to come and picnic and hike and get outdoors in our own backyard. So we're very proud of what we can offer to the community. On to the next slide. I don't want to try to take too much of your time tonight, but I do want to say thank you for your consideration. Thank you for making this reality, this dream a reality for our community, and for helping us with the ongoing costs of keeping the doors open and the lights off on Pilot Hill. The picture on the right is a new one. I just wanted to point out that's the middle school bike club, and they are out for a field trip.
Perfect timing. Thank you, Sarah. Are there any questions for Sarah? All right. Thank you for your presentation. Much appreciated.
Honorable Mayor.
Yes.
Just before the next presentation, I am salaried as the education director of our next presenter, so I'm going to recuse myself and step out.
Yes. Thank you. Welcome, Sean.
Thank you very much.
Relative theatrics.
Thank you, Will. It's got a lot of integrity. I appreciate that. Home stretch here, folks, so bear with me. I am Sean Coyle, the Artistic and Executive Director for Relative Theatrics. I have been in this position since last August, and I am pleased as punch to continue on the mission of Relative Theatrics to engage our community with thoughtful, contemporary theater, expanding worldviews, and connecting us all to our collective humanity. Within a season of Relative Theatrics, we do 4 plays, as well as 2 free readings, as well as holding the Playwright Education Program. We could procure our funding through different state and national grantings. So for state stuff, we have the Hughes Grant, and for national stuff, we get some money from the National Endowment of the Arts. On top of that, we have an increasing donor base. Year after year, our donors just continue to wow us with how much they are willing to support us. And then, of course, our ongoing tickets and subscribers. So at the beginning of a season, folks can get their tickets early, and that kind of gives them special perks to our shows. To keep things equitable for everybody to come to our productions throughout the year, we do offer a free showing of all of our productions before we run the show. We also offer free tickets to underserved and marginalized groups within the community, and we also never turn anybody away due to lack of funds. If you want to come and see a show, but you really don't have the money, you can come see our shows, absolutely. To help with a lot of our pricing, we have a pick-your-own-price model, so people can kind of budget out what they want to spend on an evening of the theater. You'd be shocked at how many people want to really spend the highest ticket price to really show that they care and that they've got the money. It's really pretty great. Our demographics within the community, we hit pretty much everybody you could think of. People in their 20s, a lot of the college students, high school students, and then people all the way up into their 70s. We tell diverse stories as often as possible. We're really trying to focus on marginalized groups, telling stories about things that are affecting not only our community here, but nationally as well, something to really bind us all. In a nutshell, what we do is we provide education, entertainment, and we create create a strong artistic community through the performing arts. We have a couple of different funding opportunities that need matching funds, and that's what we've used these community partners funds for previously. Of the $5,666 from the city and the $14,500 we got from the county for last year, we have spent all of that. That money goes to help run our shows, that goes to help with our educational costs, it goes to pay for me. I am our first full-time employee, and we have 4 other folks on staff part-time. All of our artists that work on all of our shows do get paid. It's not anywhere nearly equitable enough for the amount of time and effort they put into it. A lot of them are doing it for love of the game, but we make sure that everybody involved in our process is paid, and we've always focused on that at Relative Theatrics. The Playwright program is something that we're very proud of. Will Bowling is our education director, and he started that up in 2022. What it does is we go into 5th grade classrooms in Title I schools, and we teach them how to write plays over 20 weeks. We do this through different theater games, improvisational skills, and then creative writing prompts that is paired with the district. This year we are at Linford, we are at Rock River, and we are also at Slade Elementary, and we are hoping to expand to 4, if not 5, next school year. This all culminates in a showcase of the top 9 plays that we choose out of all the schools. There's one showing that we do for the students, and then we have a community showcase which is going to be on May 22nd. It's a lot of fun. You have no idea what these kids can come up with, and we have adults performing them. Professional theater groups from around the state come in to perform these. We also have one more play within our season. That's going to be these first couple of weeks in April. It's a little bit of a downer. We do downer plays. They're ones that you really think about. So what we're offering to the community with your partner funds is high quality entertainment. We're creating a connected arts community that is striving towards equitable pay and a platform to amplify the voices of our citizens and our neighbors. Productions here in Laramie are an opportunity to give folks a more culturally enriched life. We're doing newer shows that maybe you wouldn't be able to see even at the Denver Center as the closest place. So we really are striving to, heighten things within our community while also providing educational opportunities, trying to hit everybody in the community that we can. Thank you so much for your time. It's a long night, and I really do greatly appreciate your time.
Thank you, Sean. Questions? Any questions? Thank you for your presentation. Much appreciated. So is the next one online? Is that the one? Science Loves Art.
You are correct.
Okay, I mixed them up. Renee Williams will join us online. Oh, thank you for letting me back in. Sorry. Renee, if you could turn on your camera. Thank you. Good evening. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much for allowing me to join you all tonight. I created a little video for you in case I couldn't make it, but I'm so happy to be here with you. Maybe first we could show the video that we have.
Thank you. City Clerk?
I don't think this is the right one. Shoot.
Renee, I'm wondering if you could just go ahead and
Give my talk.
speak to the group.
Okay. Yeah, Science Loves Art. I'm not sure if you are all familiar with Science Loves Art, but we've created Science Loves Art kits to be distributed, and along with art supplies. This year, we also have created a Bumble Brew Fest, which combines our Pollinator Fest with our Fermentation Fest. These are pictures of this is the presentation I gave to you last year. I don't know where the presentation is for this year, but this is a picture of our festivals that we've done in the past where we invite nonprofit community collaborators to bring free projects to the public. We focus on science, on inviting musicians for live performances, and this year we're inviting 20 artists to come, and we pay them to supplement some of the activities that we've created that we are inspired by nature, and our theme this year is reuse and recycle. So we're creating an opportunity for 5 local live bands to be paid through Science Loves Art, as well as the artists that are going to be helping us with the community to provide free projects that have to do with gardens, pollination, fermentation, and DIY, things that they can use with recycled products that they have that can easily find in the community or in nature, they can do soil. One of the things that I mentioned in the presentation, and I'll make sure that you all get the correct presentation because it has a lot of really updated things about what we're doing this year. What we've done is with the Albany County funds, we were able to pay an intern. And this intern is an art education and marketing major with the university, and that has really helped us improve our outreach to public schools because they've had a hard time keeping up with art projects. So what we do is we reach out to schools, we customize programs, and we've reached over, I don't have it with me right here, but over 3,000 people have experienced our kits. And most of those are in Albany County this year because we've done so much more as far as focusing the funding that you give us on our community. We do a lot of other fundraising throughout the state with Wyoming Arts Council, Wyoming Community Foundation. And the grant that we are asking for this year will be a new project that expands what we're doing in Laramie. It'll focus on artists in Laramie and across the state, but this part of the funding we're asking for will cover interviewing and videoing, which is what we've done with our kits by offering companion videos. But it'll also showcase those video, we're doing professional videos so that our partners, Wyoming After School Coalition, and our after-school programs here in Laramie, our schools out in Centennial, Harmony, and around the city can use those to create projects for their students because not all of them have art teachers anymore. They don't have a lot of tools that the children would, we feel that would be enriched. So I'm sorry that my presentation is so flustered. I totally didn't expect that my presentation wouldn't work, and I worked so hard on it. So I will make sure you all get that. And
Thank you, Renee. And if you can forward the correct item to the city clerk, then she can redistribute that to us. Thank you very much. Are there any questions for Renee? All right, we have none. Thank you very much for joining us, Renee.
Thank you.
Next, Skate Laramie, Josh Kaffer. And thank you for your patience, Josh. You've been here a while.
Oh, no. I missed a couple of the first ones. I always love seeing the safety net that we create in this community, and it always heartens me for what we do at Skate Laramie. So anyone who's not familiar with Skate Laramie, we've been around since 2014. We are a wheeled sports 501c3. We focus on programming and infrastructure in Laramie and Albany County. You guys are the first public. I wanted to bring this to you guys, but we have very big news, is that we bought some Albany County land for the dream of an indoor skate park that will serve our county. I don't know, I mean, most of you look like skaters and BMX riders. I mean, I've seen a few of you. But if you don't know, there's a lot of focus on outdoor recreation, and we try and be one of the most, the lowest bar in the gatekeeping of outdoor recreation in our community. And so we've offered 10 years of free programming, and we also do summer camps. And unfortunately, due to weather, our community has to either shovel out or go into hibernation for 6 months a year. So it's always been a dream of ours to build a space. That's basically what it is a dream right now. And we're working on a business plan, and we're working on a building plan that fits that. And we would love to give you the opportunity to help us plant the seed, and I will then take, the 6,000 I asked for and hopefully turn it into a space for our community to grow. But I'm guessing it's probably going to cost $350,000 in the end. But I'm open to all of your questions.
Thank you, Josh. Questions?
Thank
Vice
you.
Mayor
Got another question.
Richardson.
Sorry. Thank you. Thanks, Josh. Can you share with us those camps that you hold, how many participants you end up with?
So we ran 3 weeks of camps, and actually I am running a little late to the planning meeting for this year's camp. This happening at my house. But we had about 12 to 15 students at each of the camps, and we're hoping to increase that. We've generally just we try and offer good compensation, so that's kept our camps pretty short, so that limits the intake. So we're flirting with a longer, half-day camp tonight. So hopefully we can up our numbers. I'm also trying to outreach to the schools to try and get our programs in the schools.
Anything else? Thank you, Josh.
Thank you all.
We appreciate your presentation. And Brian, last but not least, Winter Lights Festival, Tough Guys Landscaping and Lighting, Brian Welper. Thank you, Brian. We really appreciate your patience tonight.
Well, thank you. I didn't make it for the very beginning, but I always tell my wife I like to get here because I really like to see all the good that happens in this community. I explained last year that if money is short, money is tight, and you have to cut one, please, we would be willing. Don't feel obligated to us. We are thankful for this community. We love all the different nonprofits. So yeah, so there you go. So did Nancy send over a video to you? I have a video that it was really cool. We put a production, and of course I didn't get it in by 10 a.m. on Friday, but Nancy was gonna see about getting it, but you've done phenomenal tonight, Nancy. So what is the Winter Lights Festival? I mean, a lot of you, I'm sure, have been aware. We're going on our 4th year of being in. The first year we started out with less than 30 local sponsors. Last year we had over 65 sponsorships through organizations and businesses. Our first year we had I think we were right under 50,000 LED bulbs in the park. This year we had over 125,000 LED bulbs in the park. We've gone to 51 trees. We had numerous ground displays. We've added music to the park to make it more festive. We've extended it into January. I always like to point out that if you look at the darkest time of the year where there's not much light, it's November, and it's the end of November through the end of January, and that's right when the Winter Lights Festival is running. So it's great to bring light to the community. We're very thankful for all the support we've had. Yeah, and it's one of those, I like to point out that, oh, sorry, could I have the next slide? What does the community get from the festival? I think the community is, we hear people driving from all over. I had someone from eastern Nebraska tell me that they drive out to spend time with their family to go to the Winter Lights Festival. And she told me that she ended up crying, and I was like, was it that bad? And she said, no, I cried because I couldn't believe that a community comes together like this and makes this happen and makes a free, rich experience for the public. The grand opening, we have senior night. At the grand opening, we had over 1,000 people. We bring in Santa, give away goodies. Senior night, we served over 25 seniors where we gave them golf cart rides throughout the park, had hot cocoa for them. Veterans First Responders Night, we teamed up with Wyoming National Guard, and we gave away free tumblers to over 20 veterans or first responders. And then we, thanks to Laramie Ford, we had a movie night. It was a short movie night, but the weather cooperated. And then we had a UW Athletics night in partnership with UNIWYO and UW Athletics. And it was a free event where we had players reading books to kids. We had the head coach, Sundance Wicks, reading books. So it was a really great family event. Over 1,000 people attended. We gave away free goodies. And then this year we hosted 2 elementary schools during the day where we brought our Tough Guys Grinch in, and we hosted Indian Paintbrush and Spring Creek Elementary, all grades K through 5. So over 700 students. We gave away goodie bags to all those kids, and they got to see the Winter Lights Festival during the day. Community benefits, sorry, next slide. Yes, thank you. You're wonderful, Nancy. Thank you. As you can see, our amounts donated back to local nonprofits has increased year after year. We forgot to add into that one. We had a horse and carriage ride that raised over $900 this year. And so really the amount raised for local nonprofits is over $10,000 in this year, and we're hoping to increase that again next year. So next slide. What was added in 2024? I'm a nerd when it comes to lights. I nerd out on lights. My son makes fun of me because that's all I ever look at. We added a really cool 20-foot color-changing tree. That's the only one in Wyoming, which is pretty dang cool that Laramie has that. We added horse carriage rides on the weekends. We had a movie night, UW Athletics night, senior night. We had cider and caroling. We added more ground displays, and we even added more speakers in the park to kind of lessen, to not have to turn the speakers up as much. Next slide. What does the city of Laramie gain? I feel like it's not just the government part of the city. I think it's the whole city gains. I think it's more people driving throughout with our wonderful ski area. I think people have something to do at nighttime when they stay at the lodging. Neighboring counties come over. I truly believe this is one of the premier events in southeast Wyoming. I have a lot of people from Cheyenne. We have a lot of customers in Cheyenne, and they're asking and begging us to bring something like this to Cheyenne. But that's a lot of work, and that would be down the road. I mean, we're just focused on our Laramie and keeping it sustainable. And then next slide. What would next year festival look like? We have more ground displays. We're adding more, some pretty cool 15-foot globe, things like that. Got some pretty fun things we're adding. Make sure we're hitting all the demographics and all that, and yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Mayor, just to let the council and commissioners know that the link to the video that Brian spoke about is available in the packet material.
Awesome.
So if you go under his number 35, it's provided in there.
Yes, we had a production company, and they just finished it today. Talk about what was great, what happened in 2024, and what's good about 2025.
Very good, and thanks for telling us where it is and how to find it.
Next year, the grand opening is moving to Saturday after Thanksgiving instead of the Friday to coincide with Small Business Saturday.
So that's great.
Celebrate
That's
Small Business
great.
Saturday. And I do have, this is not a bribe or anything. We just gave this to all of our sponsors last year, and it's just a nice little tumbler. It's a Winter Lights Festival commemorative. You guys helped make it happen last year, so we just wanted to say thank you. So I'll leave them with Nancy, and you're welcome to one. If you don't want one, I know Human Being has some really nice cups, so.
Yeah.
I have one of those.
So sorry.
Thank you. Any questions?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment.
Oh,
it's okay.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I just want to say I so appreciate your comment up front about recognizing you as a business versus nonprofits, and that's where I always struggle because I love the lights. I go, I visit, I love that you give to nonprofits. So I just want to acknowledge up front that I appreciate that you recognize that too, that it's kind of an interesting situation for us, for a business to be included with this nonprofit group. So thank you.
Yes, and I want to point
Thank
out
you.
that I didn't, Todd Fieser told me about this, and he's like, this is the city's way and county's way of helping out. So I don't take this as like, hey, come on, give me money. This was more just like a, hey, this is a festival, this is a community festival, and that's why I come every year. So plus it's really cool to see all the other nonprofits.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Councilor Newman?
That was my comment as well.
That was your comment.
Yeah, I was just going to say before council, I said, I almost bet that you were going to open up with, we don't need the money because everybody else does, so.
And I have another question, Councilor Shumway.
Just a comment. First of all, I'd like to thank Tough Guys. We spend, as the city, I think about $30,000 on Fire in the Sky, and it lasts for, 15 minutes? This is lights in the park, and it lasts for 90 days. So thank you so much for what you do. It's a great addition to the city.
And a shout out to the Laramie Police Department. Knock on wood, we're going on our third year in a row with no high vandalism. We do have cameras and everything, but that's a credit to the law enforcement keeping an eye on it at nighttime, and so we appreciate that support, so thank you. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Okay. Thank you so much, Brian, and thanks for all you do. I live a couple blocks away from the lights, and I enjoy them so much. All right. Before I recess the commissioners, I'd like to ask if there are any public comments on the agenda item, which was all of these presentations. Seeing none, then I would move to recess and allow our commissioners to leave so we can do the final part of the city meeting. And thank you all for joining us. It's always a pleasure. And
Thank you.
I appreciate your patience and attention. Thank you.
Councilor Freed and I conducted an interview for the Traffic Safety Commission this week, and next week on Wednesday at 5:30 we have our first Laramie Human Rights and Relations Commission meeting.
Congratulations. Mr. Bowling.
No major updates at this time. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Vigil. Yes, Mayor, 3 boards and commissions meetings since the last time we met. I'll be very brief. I got to hear Nancy's awesome presentation at the Park Trees and Rec Board meeting again about Robert's Rules. They had some really awesome questions, so I did learn more. Then there's Traffic Safety Commission on March 13th, where we talked about pedestrian traffic and different ways to reconnect West Laramie. There's some presentations from DJ&A, a firm that's going to maybe help address some of these connectivity issues and work with us. And it was really informative. Heard from different folks in the city about the potential transportation plan and how we can be effective there as a Traffic Safety Commission. And then the Railroad Depot met to talk about the gala that's happening, and you heard some of their ideas to fix some of the things in their museum, which is really cool. And I think someone asked about the numbers, and maybe just for your sake, someone asked the numbers of folks that come into that Railroad Depot. They are fixing, they're getting stuff to count that better. But I think Joe answered how many people are going into the museum, because the museum has specific hours. So those 5 to 10 people that he was saying are only going in the museum, not using that space for other things. So those are my updates.
Thank you, Councilor Freed. Councilor Schilling.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to report on my visit to the National League of Cities in Washington, D.C.
Oh, hello.
I think they turned off our lights.
That's a power outage.
Oh, yeah, that is creepy.
I hate that.
And the door's just locked, I can't leave.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Okay.
There we go. It's back.
Okay.
It must have been some meeting.
I think we were defunded. Anyway, my first meeting I met with the hearing committee for small cities, where they talk about best practices and such. And I met there with Ashley Hopstreet, who is the WHAM executive director. And then for the next 3 days, I had the privilege of going with her to all these different meetings that we had. Probably learned more in those next 3 days than I have ever in attending a National League of Cities meeting. Great insights, great input. We met with all of our representatives, with the exception of Senator Lummis, who was ill. But we had about 3 hours talking to Senator Brasso and also Representative Hageman. And it was. I will say this. We met, J.D. Vance came and spoke to the National League of Cities, and his reception was, I would say, rather cool. They were not too happy with the direction that they're going on funding to different states and such. So that was one thing that was rather interesting, unexpected to me. But I brought back a card that I gave to someone with a QR code for all the funding opportunities we have for grants that are available from the National League of Cities, which QR code had probably hundreds of them we can look at for ways to fund the cities. But anyway, great. Glad I went. Got a lot of great ideas that I've been sharing with people. I have one more meeting with the WHAM on the board of directors for WHAM. I'll have one meeting in April, and then I'm going to go off the board because it's time for me to get off. Since I'm not going to stay on for the next 2 years anyway, because it's a 2-year extension, and I won't be on the city council for 2 more years. So, anyway, that's my report. I'm glad I went.
Thank you, Councilor Lockhart.
Thank you. I had a planning commission meeting yesterday. The last 2 have been very short. 2 weeks ago was a half-hour meeting. And yesterday was just like an hour or so. they're changing the chair. He's stepping down, and so Tom Mattamore was elected to take over in the next meeting or the next time. They had it's been hard to get a full house with all of the commissioners or on the commission, but they were yesterday. The city staff talked about our joint work session with them, and there was some open minds and some very closed minds. They didn't like that. Some of them were like, well, why are we meeting with them? I thought we said no. And so they were kind of brought up to speed on that. So we're going to have some legwork. But they wanted, a lot of it, they're like, we want to know how, why they think their way, why we think our way. It's supposed to be with Lamar also. And they were wondering, why are they giving us another presentation? Well, we asked them for some more information. So, of course, I don't speak in that. I just sit there and let city staff do their job. I didn't want to speak for us. So it should be an interesting work session, to say the least. And then there was another small thing where they had the Board of Appeals. They adjourned and did the Board of Appeals on some snow removal and a fine. But it was interesting to see the process and how the city went and did the abatement on that and the complaint and how they notify people that are in violation of the snow removal policy. And this property owner lived out of town. And so had no idea, couldn't keep up with it. They didn't know who the exact landowner was. It finally got to her, but they'd already done the snow removal and the what have you for a nuisance. So it was just kind of interesting to see how that went down. But that was really about it. There's nothing really, amazing to report about, nothing contentious or what have you, but I sure enjoy those meetings. So some of them have been very informative too.
Oh, yeah.
So last two have been kind of low-key.
Very good. I attended the airport board meeting, and they continue, they're working to update and refine the rules, policies, procedures, also updating the fees, the lease fees that have not been updated in decades. And I think they're doing a good job of trying to communicate with those whose fees are going to go up and aren't so happy about it. But so they continue to work on that and to work on trying to reach out to their community. And the second meeting, we continue to meet with the Housing Coalition, and it is taking more of a working form. We're divided into 4 or 5 different work groups, and I'm in the action group, and we're really moving forward. We're obtaining some information that we'll be sharing and making available for all of you. Where Emma Dixon, our planner, has done research on communities that have funded housing under like the chamber, and it involves possible land trusts and those types of agreements. So we've gathered the information from Jackson that they did, and then there's a city in Oregon that has quite an extensive amount of information for us, and they are quite willing to share everything that they have with us. And we're pulling that together so that it would be available if anyone's curious, but we're thinking that it may offer a model for us to move forward with some of the making partnerships with available land and developers. And some of these things come in with, it's called middle income housing, and they come in with entire designs. It's all kind of put together, and you apply it. So it has potential. We're doing work, we're gathering the information, and we'll continue to share that. And then I just have one request, and you spoke of our upcoming work session on April 22nd related to the sign ordinance, to look at that again, and then to also look at the digital. There were some technical questions that were posed during our session, where our meeting where we tabled it, and those I think deserve being researched and answered, such as what is the photometric comparison between digital and the current signage billboards that we have. Another question, what is the comparison of energy usage between the two? So we would like to invite you to submit any questions that you might have and for that meeting, because some of them being of a technical nature, we will get more complete and better answers if we can do those in advance. Then those questions, they could be for planning, but anything related to the ordinance or related to the examples that I gave you about the signage, digital versus the billboard. So if you do have questions, please submit those to Nancy by the end of March. So by March 31st, then we'll go through and group those together because there may be duplicates, et cetera. And that's it. If you'll send those in, then those questions will be sent out to both the planning and to anyone who will be presenting us information, and to you all. So we will all have the same information, the same questions, and that will help them to guide some of the things that we want to know. So I met with Philip for about an hour after we had that meeting, and it was very productive, and I think we're all on the same page, just trying to explore this and to offer the opportunity for individuals who are newly elected to fully participate in the process and to review the whole ordinance and to then make our decision based on our work session. So, thank you. Councilor Newman.
I just have a comment, I guess, on that. I think for the transparency part of it, before they all get, like if there's like two of the same ones, we need to still publish that. Two counselors had that same question, I think, just for transparency issues. But
I can do that. Just put two,
right.
Beside it.
Right.
So they know that, or 4 or 9.
Right.
But I think that's a good idea. Thank you. All right.
Do you want me to report on?
If we could take a look at.
Do you want me to report out on the meetings?
I forgot you.
It's okay. They're very quick. It's okay. DDA, I think we are for real going to be moving forward with the plan. Derek is coming forward for the next meeting, like with some things in place, and I'm very hopeful that we will start like making progress. The group is very eager to move forward, and so I'm feeling good about that. I've got Pilot Hill tomorrow, fire code, and I don't know the acronym, interview for that on Wednesday, and then beautification on Thursday. So.
Now, great. Thank you very much. And if we could take a look at the agenda for next week. And
Can I share one thing while you're taking a look? Actually, 2 quick notes for council.
yes, please.
Council, I wanted to tell you, we sent you an email a few weeks back about the potential to bid for the to be the host site for the WHAM 2026 conference. That'll be June of 26. Few of you responded yes, so we took that as a yes. We're preparing that proposal. I wanted to mention it tonight because we have to submit it, I think, in a week or so. And so if you don't want us to propose this, let me know now. And the reason I need to know that you're all complicit in this is that it may involve some fundraising and some efforts on your part to help pull this off. Typically, staff engage in most of the planning and the logistics and that sort of thing. But in past years when we've hosted, the city council sort of led the effort to maybe raise funds if they're needed. It's not a lot, it's a little bit, right? If we want to do a special program or something that isn't covered by WHAM. So if you all feel comfortable with that, just nod your heads, and if anybody has objections, you could call me tomorrow and we could talk about it. I also want to mention, in follow-up to Councilor Shumway's note, that so I serve on the WHAM board right now, but not representing the city of Laramie, but being the president of the Wyoming City Management Association. My term will be up July 1st, so I have 2 more board meetings representing the professional managers of the state, but I wanted to mention that because that means that with Councilor Shumway moving off the WHAM board representing our region and me moving off the WHAM board, even though I don't really represent Laramie, we won't have any Laramie presence. So you should contemplate that in the event that you have interest in participating more heavily in WHAM so that maybe we have someone from Laramie keeping an eye on things. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, City Manager. Is that all? Yep. Thank you. All right, looking at the agenda, are there any comments regarding the consent agenda? Yes, Councilor Freed.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'm just curious, and we don't need to get in the weeds of this, but is it possible to see the approval of the 2025 Wildfire Management or Wildland Fire Management Annual Operating Plan, 9G? I don't have any objections or anything. I'm just curious about it.
Yeah, you should have that in your packet, I believe. Yep.
Thank you.
I will clarify and make sure that the full of it is there with the chief.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for that question. So then moving to regular agenda. Any questions or concerns? A comment?
No. I'm getting ready to call. So
All right. Going. This meeting is adjourned. Good job, everybody.